Hello and welcome to Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Good evening everyone and welcome back to Next Gen Racing, live on Facebook and live on YouTube and live on Kick. Very new to Next Gen, so go give us a follow on Kick if you haven't already. It's a brand new channel to the Next Gen network. But tonight we're here live on all three channels as we mentioned. We're here at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, one of my favourite circuits ever actually. Absolutely loved this circuit on the old Formula 1 games. But, yeah, tonight, Catalan region in East Spain is where we are tonight, just south of France and the Principality of Andorra. We're about 24 kilometres north of Barcelona, in the famous Barcelona-Catalunya circuit in the Catalan region. This circuit, a little bit about it before we get going. It was built in 1991, it was pretty much purpose-built for Formula 1, and it has hosted ever since then. There is speculation that it's going to move off of the calendar of Formula 1 in years to come, but there's plenty of other series it does host as well. To note, Moto GP as well. I mean, we've seen some legendary races on Moto GP over the years. Legendary moments happen at this circuit, and I say that about quite a lot of circuits, but especially here. Let's just give you 4 iconic moments from this circuit over the years. We had Mansell versus Senna in 1991. It was the track's first appearance in Formula 1 as well, and it was a brilliant battle between Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna. Down the main straight, sparks spitting off of the cars, going side by side down that main straight at near 200 miles per hour. Absolutely fantastic. Of course, we must mention Michael Schumacher's infamous 1996 win in the pouring down rain at this circuit, his first win for Ferrari as well. 2009, we had the greatest lap in motorsport was at this circuit, but it wasn't a car race. It was Moto GP, and it was Valentino Rossi versus Jorge Lorenzo. What a lap! Go and watch that on YouTube. Rossi versus Lorenzo at this track in 2009. It was an incredible lap. The greatest lap in motorsport, as I mentioned. And 2016, of course, we had Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton coming together on the very first lap. Will we see something like that tonight? Who knows? Who knows? But of course, that was Max Verstappen's first win. The first of what would become, I'm going to say it, Max Verstappen, one of the greatest there's been in Formula 1. To the demise of other greats in Formula 1. But, yeah, this track, legendary moments, so let's see if we get any tonight. Tonight we are racing at the historic Circa 95 layout, which is actually the current layout that's used in most motorsports actually that come to this track. Thank God we got rid of that chicane in the final sector, and thank heavens we have that long hairpin instead of the tight hairpin that was in Sector 3. But this track, it is 2.9 miles in length, or 4.6 kilometres if that's your unit of measurement. There are 14 official turns, 8 to the right and 6 to the left. Now, let's get into the housekeeping. This is the Next Gen GT3 Season 6 League. Next Gen Racing hosting Thursday night races here in GT3s. There's also the Friday night F4s and the Tuesday night Next Gen Touring Car Championship with the TCR cars on iRacing, of course. This is the Thursday night league featuring only GT3s. It was a prototype and GT3 league last season, but now we're only on GT3s. If you want to get involved in the series, scan the QR code for Discord in the bottom left there. The Discord server will give you access to all the communications happening in Next Gen Racing, as well as all the leagues that you can enter. Or you can just join as a spectator if you just enjoy the banter and enjoy the communications and news that goes along with Next Gen Racing. A big shout out to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of Next Gen Racing. That includes PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC Builds and Support, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Moser Racing and Only Racing, who are providing the prizes for the winners of this championship. There are £500 in store credits to use on Only Racing's online store. This is a series that will feature multiple categories, gold, silver and bronze categories. Gold drivers being the top tier drivers in this league, silver being the middle tier of the drivers, the middle of the field, and bronze drivers tend to be the lesser experienced drivers looking to get themselves up the ladder. This is the calendar we are undergoing this season. We started off all them weeks ago at Fuji Motor Speedway in Japan, and then we went stateside for the Road America Round 2. 2 weeks ago from today was the first of 3 endurance rounds of the championship, and that was the Monza GP circuit. And last week we were at Suzuka, which was probably one of the most drama-filled round we've ever had on Next Gen Racing Thursday nights. It was instant left, right and centre, and it was crucial for a lot of championship pivotal moments, I would say. We'll look back on that round, and I think there'll be a lot pointed to that round last week at Suzuka. But today we're at the Catalunya Historic Circuit, and the completion of tonight will see us out of the first half of the season. And there'll be a break next week, because it's Halloween. Everyone's off with their families and that sort of thing. Everybody's out trying to get sweets from people's front doors. So we'll be having a break next week, and then we'll be back on the 7th of November for the second of 3 endurance rounds of the championship. And that'll be hosted at the Nordschleife, the full Nordschleife. And of course, it's got to be an endurance round as well, isn't it? That's going to be an exceptional round. So 2 weeks from today, tune in around about this time, two weeks from today, for that incredible round. Rounds 7, 8 and 9 will be back to the sprint and feature race formats, and they'll be hosted at Zolder, Interlagos and Nürburgring, and that is the GP Grand Prix circuit of Nürburgring for round 9. And then the final round of the championship will be another 2-hour endurance round, and that'll be hosted at Daytona Road to see us out of the season as we head towards Christmas. And of course, Daytona Road also hosts the Daytona 500 and the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, so a legendary track for a legendary round of this championship. The cars we are using this season, as we mentioned already, all GT3 cars, and they are the, I would say, main GT3 cars that are used on iRacing. There are 9 of them, and they include the Audi R8, the BMW M4, the Chevrolet Corvette, the Ferrari 296, the Ford Mustang, the Lamborghini Huracan, the McLaren 720, the Mercedes AMG and the Porsche 911. Drivers are allowed to change cars during the season. We don't see it too often, but we do see it occasionally. But if drivers do change their cars part way through a season, they will be deducted 50 points from their total championship tally, just to make it all interesting. Now, we are going to go through the championship standings as we're heading into tonight for this halfway point of the season after tonight, as we mentioned. So without further ado, let's go through the championship standings as they are heading into tonight. So we'll start with the gold category. At the top of the standings, we have got Ben McCluskey still leading the championship. He wasn't the highest scoring driver last round, but that was only by 1 point. So it's still a pretty dominant round from the Northern Irish driver, as he leads the championship by 50 points from his teammate and our league admin, Gaz Williams, still holding second place, losing the tail a little bit in recent rounds from Ben McCluskey, all the more per round, but he still holds second place strongly at the moment by a near 20 points over Elwyn Sykes, who had a brilliant round last time out at Suzuka. He took the lead he was looking good for 4th place at one point last week, and then all of a sudden, with drama and overtaking, he took the lead of that race, and he went on to win it despite the threats from behind. So well done to Elwyn Sykes to take himself 3rd place in the championship as we head into tonight. Gavin Gardner drops to 4th in the championship after a fairly disappointing round in Suzuka, but with drop rounds, he won't need to worry too much about that round. You just have to get himself back in form and back into song and back into luck for the upcoming rounds. 4th place in the standings for him, just 1 point ahead of Stephen Bird, who didn't have such a good round last week either. There was quite a lot of drivers who didn't have the best of rounds last time out, but Stephen Bird still holds a top 5 place. Mike Barber, who was looking frighteningly quick last week, it was amazing, but luck wasn't on his side. A couple of incidents here and there, and he fell short in both the sprint race and the feature race for only 25 points. But he showed his pace last week, and he showed what he could do in challenging for wins. So look out for him as the season goes on. 6th place for him. Chris Shorter, who you could consider a part-timer in this series, missed last week, so he falls down the championship tables to 7th. Martin Hobson, 8th position for him, with Marcelo Felix in 9th and Sean Shute in 10th. Silver category now, and it's Carl Oosthuizen who still leads the championship. Not such a great round for him last time out at Suzuka, as Ian Manners, who has been moved over from the gold category to the silver category, has inherited a lot of points, particularly from Monza, inheriting a win from that round of the championship. But he holds second place in the championship, just 11 points behind Carl Oosthuizen, second place for him. Nigel Stock falls to 3rd in the championship as a result, and not the best of rounds for him at Suzuka last time out, 115 points, 15 points behind his next position above. Matthew Addy, 4th position for him, pretty good round last time at Suzuka, avoided a lot of the drama, so a healthy 4th place for him as he heads into tonight. Mark Baker is in 5th position with 13 points. From Suzuka, followed by Harley Bicknell in 6th position. Good consistent pace from him this season. Jeffrey Kruger, the last 2 rounds he has really not had the luck on his side, and we know he's got the pace, but 7th place for him at the moment. He'll have to see if he can pick it up in the next coming rounds. Baz Meacham won the feature race, it was the feature race, feature race last time out, so a good haul of points for him, puts him 8th in the championship, having missed a round at Monza. Kevin Smith is 9th position and Jochen Seeger is 10th position. Bronze category, and this is extremely exciting. I mentioned in the description of this video, of this live stream, if you fancy checking it out, but 6 drivers in this category finished with, scored within 4 points of each other, 3 points of each other in that last round at Suzuka. So that included Elwyn Sykes, Gabriel Papaconstantino, Adam Wilson-Weir, Rob Savage, Jonathan Berry, Kurt Van Honecker. They all scored within 3 points of one another, which is incredible. And that shows how tight this bronze category championship is going to be as the season goes on. Any of those top 9 drivers could, well, take this championship. It might not necessarily look like that in the totals at the moment, but believe me, it could be very interesting as the season goes on. Elwyn Sykes, however, leads the championship heading into tonight by 9 points, and he's followed close behind by Kurt Van Honecker. Gabriel Papaconstantino, excuse me. 10 points behind him is Adam Wilson-Weir of Quittermass Motorsport in 3rd position there, with Andy Chell close behind in 4th. Andy Rooney tied 4th place with his fellow Quittermass driver, and Stephen de Grellier, who's not racing tonight, but he's in 6th place in the championship, having a drop round tonight. Rob Savage, 7th position after his best round last time out at Suzuka, and Jonathan Berry in 8th position. Kurt Van Honecker, his best round last time out, he won the sprint race at Suzuka, 9th position for him, and Stein Vatens in 10th position. Teams Championship now, and still at the top of the championship, leading by some margin of 42 points, is Next Gen Racing with Benji Sim Photos, and they include Gaz Williams, the admin of the series, and Benji Sim Photos, Ben McCluskey himself, and Alan McCain. They top the standings with CSA Team Wozo, who are having a good run of form at the moment, up to 2nd place in the championship, the Teams Championship, piloted by Wesley Lewin, Edwin Simpson, and Kyle Oosthuizen. Quittermass Para Drivers Academy, headed by Andy Chell and supported by Jonathan Berry and Adam Wilson-Weir, are 3rd position, just 7 points behind 2nd place heading into tonight. 4th position is Aztec Racing, consisting of Gabriel Papaconstantino, Nathan Lewis-Stone and Gabriel Yilmaz, and 5th position to JWM, consisting of Ian Manners and Harley Bicknell. That's the championship standings heading into tonight, and I can breathe a little bit now. A lot of housekeeping to get through in this league, but it is a brilliant league to be a part of. And these drivers tonight, we'll be looking forward to this round. It's a driver's track, this is. There's plenty of corners, variation of corners, lots of different styles. A lot of people consider it a bit of a testing track, but it can be extremely exciting, it's got to be said. A huge variation, of course, as I mentioned, and overtaking's a bit tricky at this track though, so drivers are going to have to work extremely hard to make sure they get their exits of corners absolutely spot on, and that could also mean that strategy will come into play, particularly into the feature race. Before we head into the next part of the session, which is going to be qualifying, you may have noticed there's a little bit of mist on the track. There it is. a threat of rain tonight. Yes, that's right. We might actually get the first spot of rain in this championship. We'll see. We'll see. It might hit us later on in the feature race. It might hit us later on in the sprint race. We'll have to see. But we have got a weather kind of indicator on our stream now, just to give us a little bit more of an indication of what the drivers are seeing and feeling. As practice ends, and we'll head into qualifying. Mike Barber was quickest in the golds, Carlos Stason quicker in the silvers, and Stein Vatens was quickest in the bronze. As we head into qualifying now. A couple of new drivers tonight as well. We'll see if we can introduce them tonight. As we head into this crucial qualifying session. And straight out on the track, Ben McCluskey, leader of the Gold Championship, as we mentioned, followed closely by Nigel Stock behind there in the silver category, looking to get himself higher in the championship. He's a little bit... I speak to Nigel on the regular, and Nigel's a little bit frustrated that he's down to third in the championship. So he's definitely keen to get himself back into second place or even towards first place. A little bit of a shout out, I think we need to Stein Vatens. Bronze category, quickest in practice, and he's on the jacks for some reason, so wasn't happy with the tyres that were on his car, so he wants a new set. But yeah, Stein Vatens quickest in practice. Let's just keep an eye on him tonight. Jeffrey Kruger wants more luck tonight. I can definitely visualise that, as yeah, it hasn't been the last couple of rounds for him, and a lot of drivers here squabbling for track position. Usually that happens when drivers want to either meet up with their teammates or they're squabbling for a drafting position. So we see Kevin Smith splitting the two next-gen drivers there of, I think that's Gavin Gardner and Alan McCain. I think I was correct in that. But let's skip forward. We're going to use our championship leader as our guide to this track, as we usually do. So here we go, on board with Ben McCluskey. And this is a lap of the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit. Down the main straight we go. Very long straight here, and we'll go down the hill, and it'll be very late, but very heavy braking into the Elf chicane. There, on the brakes, lightly pressing the brake pedal and progressing it on. And the car wanting to switch sideways there into turn 2, but he just about keeps it held together. The back end stepping out as we go through the Renault curve here, but McCluskey's keeping a good hold of it at the moment. Up towards Repsol hairpin now, as we ease into the corner, keeping it tight on the apex, and then you unload the wheel to take it out to the exit of the corner. Straight away to the right as we head into the Seat left-hander, turn number 5. Hard on the accelerator, straight steering wheel to optimise the exit. Into TV3, as this corner is called. Very tricky corner. You always want to take it quicker than you can, and I'm not sure if that was invalid then. It might have been a 1X. As we head up now into Campsa. Got a feeling McCluskey went off the track down into turn number 7 previously, but we'll carry on with the lap as we head into La Caixa. Long left-hander here, which in Formula 1 in tradition used to use the tight hairpin we see to our left there. So we now head into the bank, Sambadel. Oh, the rear end is really struggling on that Ferrari Europe car here, and it's cold temperatures here, which means, well, in one part you could say it's grippy, on another part you could say it's very loose. But there we go, that's a lap of the Barcelona-Catalunya circuit with Ben McCluskey, and it wasn't an invalid time. Do excuse me, Ben. But he comes across the line to go top of the standings at the moment. And John Berry has also come through. Currently top of the bronzes, albeit a couple of drivers yet to come through. Mark Baker back here in the ECO team is in first place currently for the silver category. We saw Nigel Stock following Ben McCluskey earlier on that lap, but it was an invalid lap for him. But Jeffrey Kruger of the silvers is sitting pretty at the top of the standings right now. Now, the reason on our timing tower we've got everyone in their overall positions rather than category positions is because the way the grid works for this upcoming sprint race is where you qualify overall is where you'll start. There is no category splits for this opening race of the night, but there will be for the feature race, as the way the grid works in the feature race is it's the results of the sprint race, but each category is grouped together and then it is reversed on the results of that sprint race. So if you finish first in the gold category, for example, in the sprint race, you'll start last in the gold category group in the feature race. As we see the next gen drivers here tailing each other, that's Jamie Dory and Gavin Gardner working together on a slipstream on this lap to get themselves the best possible time they can. Andy Rooney to the top of the bronze category. We're going to eagerly watch the bronze category tonight because it's the one category you really can't predict at the moment, because loads of different drivers are winning at the moment in this category. As we saw fastest in practice, Stein Vatens is in second place at the moment, not quite to Andy Rooney's pace, but the session is still young. Good time from Nigel Stock. He puts himself second in silvers at the moment, just a 10th behind his rival in the silvers, Jeffrey Kruger. Good opening lap for Ben Altria in the Audi. He was particularly quick in the silvers as well, so certainly look out for him tonight. Jeffrey Kruger, with a very quick middle sector, has gone a bit quicker and he extends his lead, but then it's taken away. Carlos Stayson, his teammate, has gone straight into first place in his BMW. And we were just looking at Ben Altria then. He'll be the only full tilt driver representing tonight. Mark Kent, as he said in the YouTube comments, not able to race tonight, so hopefully we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time, Mark. Have a nice day off. Into fourth place. A new driver for tonight. That is Gene the Clown. He is in the fourth position at the moment, driving the Porsche. So welcome along to the series to the American driver. Let's see how he gets on tonight. So far, so good for the gold category driver. Let's keep an eye on our standings at the moment. It is a CSA 1-2 in silver at the moment. Oosthuizen and Jeffrey Kruger, 1 and 2, 8th and 9th overall at the moment. But Baz Meacham, he won the feature race, remember, last time out at Suzuka. So he'll be coming into this round today quite high in optimism and in good form heading into this round. So we'll see how he does. He's just outside the overall top 10 at the moment. Rooney still holds pole position in the bronze category and well within the top half of the field. There's 45 drivers tonight, which another big field in the Next Gen Racing GT3 league. So, you know, give the guys a round of applause for that, because putting together grids on iRacing, I know it's very difficult. It requires years of work, hard work, and Next Gen Racing are doing it very, very well. So they deserve a round of applause for the grids they get week in, week out, in all leagues as well. The Next Gen Touring Car Championship exceeds 50 drivers at times. It's incredible what Next Gen Racing are doing at the moment. Okay, so Gaz Williams doesn't go quicker, but stays 7th place at the moment. We've seen with the gold category time and time again, they're often quite close together on track anyway. So, yeah, track position often beats all in this gold category in particular. 6/10ths off the pace, Gaz Williams, so he'll definitely want a little bit better than that, knowing him. A lot of drivers on their outlap at the moment, as we can see on the timing tower there. Let's take a look to Nigel Stock as he's heading towards the pits, not the line. So he's going to come in for some fresh boots. Stein Vatens is heading towards the line now. Let's see if he can go quicker, but it's not looking good at the moment, and it isn't. That will keep him... Oh, was that an outlap? Not too sure. But that will keep him in 3rd place at the moment, just behind Elwyn Sykes, who's our leader in the championship in the bronze category. So definitely eyes on him tonight. He's definitely got a target on his back tonight. What about Matthew Addy? Heading towards the line now. 31st place at the moment, and storms up the standings into 7th in category, 23rd overall, and just behind him, Alan McCain puts himself 12th in category and 17th on the road. Let's see who else is out there. You've got Stephen Bird here crossing the line shortly. Sean Shoots has just put himself into 7th place, and that was a time 4 seconds off the pace for Stephen Bird, so there'll definitely be other opportunities for him. Rob Savage is heading towards the line. He's just crossed the line there. Stays 41st at the moment, but Rob Savage had a very good round last time out at Suzuka, so we'll see what else he can do tonight. In a Red Bull livery, not a CSA livery, he is representing CSA tonight. We've got Stefan Wessels, who is on a purple middle sector at the moment. So let's see how he gets on. He was a multiple race winner last season in the prototypes. So let's see what Wessels can do tonight. On his debut for this season, joined late, albeit, but we'll see what he can do in the DTM livery here. And driving the Audi. So it's good to have another Audi driver as well as Ben Altria tonight. Crosses the line, puts himself into no position, as that was an invalid lap actually. So that's the thing with our little timing at the bottom there. It doesn't quite tell us if there are invalid laps or not. Paul Walsh in the gorgeous Mustang there. And the livery is pretty good too. As he heads towards the line. Still to this date, his best round is Monza, as he stays 28th and 8th in category. Ian Manners, 2nd in the championship in silvers, heading into tonight. So let's see what he can do here. He had a pretty good round at Monza, relatively speaking. So we'll have to see how he gets on in the silver category tonight. Alan McCain up to 10th in the category and 12th overall on the road. Good laps from him at the moment. Ben Altria, another solid qualifying session for him. It was solid in Suzuka as well, and it's solid tonight, and he's only a 10th off the pace of McCluskey, who continues to be the benchmark in this league. We have got Gavin Gardner in 9th position here, heading around the final couple of turns at the moment. We'll take a look to Craig Tillotson first, though. He's heading across the line, and this will be another lap in the books for him. It does not go quicker. He stays 37th at the moment. Back to Gavin Gardner. Jamie Dory behind. And Ben Altria is in view as well. Gavin Gardner stays 11th place. And Jamie Dory just ahead. Stays where he is as well. That's 17th place. Flash of lights there from Jamie Dory. Signal to his... Oh, no. That was making sure the other drivers stay on the inside as Jamie Dory wants to go for another lap. But... he's got Ben Altria right behind him here, and Ben Altria will definitely want to be in front or a little bit further behind. As Jamie Dory moves out of his way. Let's take a look at Baz Meacham. 3rd position in category. Yellow sectors at the moment, and it doesn't end up being a very good lap. He's more than half a second off of his PB at the moment on that lap. So we'll see what he can do next time around. Plenty of time left in this session. It's not the longest lap of the calendar. 1 minute 41s or 42s from a lot of drivers tonight. 43s from maybe the bronze drivers. We got Mike Barber here on a very good middle sector. And in the 3rd sector here. Goes quicker. Goes into 3rd place. And just about not hitting the 41s, but he is just 100th off of Ben Altria. So impressive time from Mike Barber. Just 130 thousandths of a second behind top spot. And you think that's really not that much time? Come on, guys, try and find that. But believe me, when you're on track on iRacing, it is hard to get. Have we got our Verano Motorsports contingent here tonight in the chat? I had the phone on lock, so I haven't seen the chat. But, yeah, we have the usual Katie Eames in here as well. And Verano Motorsports, so welcome along, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, anyone who watched last week live would definitely come back for more tonight. It was an incredible round last week. Right, we have got Gabriel Papaconstantino, 5th place in bronze category, but as he comes across the line, he goes into 3rd in category and 23rd overall, right behind Elwyn Sykes in the standings. But Elwyn Sykes is up the road a little bit here, and he'll feel the threat from Gabriel Papaconstantino as he resets to the pits. But this will be a charging lap for Elwyn Sykes. He leads the championship heading into tonight, so he'll certainly feel like he needs to be first in category. Just up the road from him, actually, is Andy Rooney, who is first at the moment in category in this session. Rooney has led part of this season in the championship as well, so he'll definitely want that back. The ex-full tilt driver now, quite a mass driver. Nice and neat through the chicane there. Nigel Stock will come across the line. It's a yellow sector for him, and it keeps him 16th and 4th in category for the moment as he's following a Quatermass driver down the main straight and nearly hits him. Let's see who else is out there. Jeffrey Kruger. All yellows at the moment for the drivers who are heading through. Now, what I've come to realise is yellow sector is you're slower than your PB in that sector. Green is you are quicker than your current fastest lap. And purple is your absolute best sector of your session. And that is all relative to personal times or personal best from these drivers. 9th place Sean Shute at the moment. He comes across the line, doesn't move for the time being, and that might have been an invalid or an out lap, so we'll go for a new lap here. Nathan Lewis Stone will come across the line. He's last of the time setters at the moment and doesn't move up the order, so we'll have two opportunities left, or two laps left, shall we say, to try and better his position for the moment. As we see across the line, Martin Hobson goes straight into 10th in class and 12th on the grid. That's definitely better than what he was looking beforehand. He was well down the order previously, but that's a much better standing for him. Ben Altria is in the pits, so that might be it for Ben Altria. He definitely won't be able to get a... Well, no, sorry, do excuse me. If he leaves the pits, he will be able to get one lap in. But drivers will have to be leaving soon. You can see a fair few drivers with the outlap label next to them in our timing tower. McCluskey won't be satisfied. This is an outlap, so we'll be warming up the tyres, ready for a brand new blaster of a lap coming up next. Gavin Gardner moves out of his way, and Gardner moves behind McCluskey. Gardner being behind McCluskey certainly will be the better thing to do, because McCluskey already has the pace and Gavin Gardner can use McCluskey to his own advantage. But elsewhere in the silver category, Matthew Addy, the Sam Casey sponsored car, is into 5th place in silvers right now in qualifying, 18th on the grid. So as it stands, we'll start alongside fellow silver category championship protagonist Nigel Stock. Gaz Williams puts down a stomper of a lap time. That is 5th position for him, just quarter of a second off of his teammates, but that is a good grid position for him, potentially as we head into the sprint race very shortly. Let's take a look to Andy Chell. He's down in 7th place in category. Andy Chell has been the silent assassin, actually, in the bronze category this season. Hasn't had many podium finishes. Had a lot of 4th place positions, as he's told me in his recent interviews. But he has been the one to score a lot of points and put himself in a strong championship contending position. And he said he's happy doing that. He's absolutely happy doing that. A little bit like Andy Prio, we compared him to. So, yeah, points is championships. Points, points, points. It's not just about sporadic wins. That's not pointed at anyone in particular. That's just me saying that you've got to think about the big picture as well as the little wins, should we say, in the championship. Nigel Stock up to 3rd place in category, 15th position overall. So minor improvement, but an improvement nonetheless, as he puts himself into a high position on the grid, and Gavin Gardner puts himself higher Fourth in the place in the championship heading into tonight puts himself into 11th place in category and 12th overall, but also setting a faster time then was Ben McCluskey, and he does it in the dying moments of qualifying. Now, the only drivers who are going to be able to threaten him potentially are Barber, Bird and Williams. McCluskey is now near 2/10 clear of those aforementioned drivers. So McCluskey definitely feels good coming into tonight. I do think that Ferrari's going to be good tonight. It's a track that just loves the corners comparatively more than other cars in this field. I anticipate the Porsche might be good tonight as well, I think, if experience has told me anything. But then again, ladies and gentlemen, in the dying moments of qualifying, he might have an opportunity to go for another here. Stefan Wessels, on his welcome back to Next Gen Racing Thursday night, has just put himself second position overall as the checkered flag is now out for qualifying. Stefan Wessels has put himself second position there, just 5 thousandths off of top spot. And then just heading through the line there is Nigel Stock. That is a third position, for him. Mike Barber's on a purple middle sector here. So this is a good opportunity for Barber to get himself higher up the standings. But let's see what McCluskey can do here. Yellow sectors at the moment, doesn't go quicker. What about Mike Barber? This is looking okay. No, it's not. He's off the pace. It's a 43. No, it's not. It's a 42.1. Do excuse me. It's a bit of a delay in my times. But that was a 10th off of his personal best. So it's not going to be enough to put him higher in the standings. What about Stein Vatens? He's in the pits. Okay, other drivers, we've got Adam Wilson. We are completing a lap here. Doesn't go higher. A swap of positions just then between Jamie Dory and Paul Walsh, who is still on a lap here. A lot of drivers in the pits. Only a few drivers, do excuse me, is still out on the track. Carl Oosthuizen is still out on track, and he basically has pole position in silvers now, so this will be just a practice lap for him. But the majority of the bronze drivers, in fact all the bronze drivers have completed their laps, and the only drivers who are now doing laps are Paul Walsh and Carl Oosthuizen. So we'll see what either driver can do. Both yellows at the moment, so this probably isn't going to go quicker for either driver. Let's just see him across the line anyway. But it looks like our pole sitters in each category who get the bonus points are Ben McCluskey, Carl Oosthuizen and Andy Rooney. Paul Walsh in the pit. So there we go. That'll be qualifying for us, ladies and gentlemen. And that'll see us into the sprint race. Our first race of the night, which is going to be a 20-minute race. May I remind you. A 20-minute race, which will set the grid for the feature race. And there's our format tonight. It's going to be a 20-minute sprint race and then a 60-minute feature race later on. Instant point limit at the bottom of the box there. They have 10 instant points for the opening sprint race, and then the feature race will be 20. There we go, we're about to get ourselves on the grid, ready for our first race of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go, have a quick bio break, but we'll go through the grid if you want to hear that. Now, here's the grid for the opening race of the night, and we'll just have a little reset of our timing screen there, just to get rid of the outlaying overlays. Now here we go, it's Ben McCluskey on the front row of the grid, and alongside him is debutant for tonight, Stefan Wessels. Ben Altria, third position in the Audi, with Mike Barber alongside in fourth position. Fifth place is Stephen Bird with Gaz Williams, the host of the series, in sixth. Gene McLeod in seventh position with Edwin Simpson in eighth. Ninth position Martin Hobson and Sean Shute in 10th. Pole position of the silvers is Carl Oosthuizen, but he lines up 11th overall with Gavin Gardner alongside. Second of the silvers is Carl Oosthuizen's teammate, and it is Jeffrey Kruger. Alan McCain in 14th position with Nigel Stock in 15th, and Baz Meacham will start alongside him. Matthew Cheverton in 17th with Matthew Addy in 18th position. Andy Rooney, pole position of the bronze category drivers, will start 19th, and alongside him, gold category driver Jamie Dory. Paul Walsh, a fellow commentator, in 21st position, with Mark Baker of the ECO team in 22nd. Jake Pitt in 23rd, with Mike Reedner alongside him in 24th, and Kevin Smith of Verano Motorsport will start 25th, and alongside him Aaron Hobson. More bronze category drivers now, with Elwyn Sykes, our championship leader of the bronze category, in 27th, and alongside him is Gabriel Papaconstantino. Stein Vatens, quickest in practice but not quickest in qualifying, 29th for him and 4th in category. Mark Sykes, another Next Gen admin, will start 30th position. Adam Wilson-Weir will start 31st position, with Ian Manners in 32nd. Kurt Van Honecker, last week race winner, is in 33rd, with Jochen Siegert alongside him. Ben Bennyworth, welcome back to him after taking a break last week, is in 35th, with Andy Chell in 36th. Matt Emmons 37th, with Wesley Lewin in 38th. Jonathan Berry in 39th, and alongside him will be Craig Tillotson. Neil Martin, I believe on his debut tonight, is 41st, with Rob Savage alongside him. Nathan Lewis Stone will start 43rd, with Matt Gatter in 44th, and Mark Kent, who I believe isn't actually racing tonight, 45th in classification. So there we go. We're about to get going for this opening race of the night. The sprint race here at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya. And it is Ben McCluskey and Stefan Wessels who will lead us to the line. Now the rules of these starts are: the pace car will peel off. You must maintain safety car speed until the lights go green. You are not allowed to floor it until that moment. So here we go. Holding his speed is Ben McCluskey. And as soon as the lights go green, he'll floor it down the main straight to start this sprint race here at Barcelona for round 5 of the Next Gen GT3 Championship. Away we go. A brilliant start already for McCluskey, Altria and Stephen Bird either side of Stefan Wessels. A bad start for him as we head down into turn number 1 for the first time tonight. A couple of bits of bodywork going a fly on the front straight there. But so far so good from all of the drivers on what is a very tricky complex of corners as we head through the main section of this circuit. And we have got an incident at turns 1 and 3. They were Neil Martin on his debut and Nathan Lewis Stone, I believe. We have got a move towards the front there. We have it was Martin Hobson moving past Mike Barber, who's had a bad start to this race. And a lot of CSA cars in this section of the field, as there is a big incident behind. Drivers moving down the order is Baz Meacham, who's off the track there. And there's a lot of drivers moving around in positions out back here. We got Jamie Dory off as well. That is Mark Baker off the track as well. We will get replays in a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just get through the first lap of racing. Oh, we got Matthew Addy in the wall there, slowly moving away. But he's dropping well down the order. Meanwhile, at the front, and the timer screen wants to work, we got Ben McCluskey at the front here, leading away from Ben Altria, who will be happy with taking second place at the start there. Stefan Wessels will have to work hard to get that second position back, but he's being hounded at the moment by Stephen Bird just behind him there. Stein Vatens has had an instant further back, and that is him also off the track with one of the CSA cars and moving back up onto the track in front of another car. You definitely can't do that, and that is potentially entered another driver's race. I think that was Mark Baker, who was already in trouble actually, but that would not have helped him. They'll move into the pits to get a fast repair. Right, let's look at some replays now. Let's look at the first incident we saw, which was involving... well, there's quite a lot of incidents actually as we head back up the standings here to try and get those incidents. Let's take a look at Nathan Lewis Stone and Neil Martin. So here's Nathan Lewis Stone inside there, right in the middle there, spinning across. So it just looked like a huge amount of net code actually between those drives, and it sent him round as well as Neil Martin in the kind of aquamarine coloured Porsche there. We've got an incident involving Kurt Van Honecker and Jonathan Berry. I think this was heading into Seat. So here we go, heading into the Seat left-hander. Oh, it happened in front of us, in actual fact. Kurt Van Honecker just got caught up in that. So let's take a replay from Ian Manners, because I think he was involved in that incident. Here we go. He has to avoid, and then the car just slips sideways and he spins in front of the crowd. And a lot of drivers moving off the track and avoiding action as well, just in front of him. A bit further on in the lap, this is what happened to Stein Vatens. He'll be heading into the right-hander. The Bank Sambadel hits the back of Gabriel Papaconstantino, and it just swaps the car around. Another car swerving to avoid, but it's this part that causes more grief for other drivers. Moves out onto the track, and there's other drivers coming in, and drivers who have already had part of their race compromised. More instance to avoid. This is Elwyn Sykes. I think this was his involvement in the same incident, actually. We'll catch up with the live action just after this. Yeah, you can see there Elwyn Sykes. Yeah, very nervously trying to get around the incident and not get damage on his car, because he's thinking about his championship now. That would be what Elwyn Sykes was thinking in that exact moment. He didn't want to get involved in a major incident. Oh, as we've got an incident, that's Ben Alcher heading backwards off the Seat hairpin. He's just about to switch to this, because Stefan Wessels did the fastest lap in the previous lap. And he just loses it. He just loses the rear, and it must be an ice-cold track out there. As we can see on here, well, it's not really. 22 degrees is quite cold, actually, for the cars, but it's not the coldest I've seen. A lot of precipitation in the air, maybe that's factoring into it. But Ben Altria down to 20th and 15th place in category. Not good for him at all in this race. As we see this battle for 5th position, it's Gaz Williams at the head of it, and just behind him is Hobson, Simpson and Barber. Remember, Simpson and Barber head to head last time out at Suzuka for the win in the feature race. Mike Barber was without a doubt one of the fastest cars on the track that day, but it's Edwin Simpson who managed to come out on top as the winner. As we see Andy Chell, our favourite person in the interview booth, facing the wrong way in the Sambadale hairpin. And this is what happened. It might have been on his own. Another victim to the cars turning around in these cold conditions, and it was the Corvette just not able to hang on to it. There's a couple of drivers heading off the track as well. That's popping up left, right and centre on my timing screen. Excuse me, I'll get rid of that. Here we go. Bronze category drivers. 3rd place at the moment is Gabriel Papaconstantino in category, and he's right in amongst cat amongst the pigeons here. He is in front of a load of silver drivers and right behind a couple of gold drivers. So a real mixed bag of battles on this track at the moment. But it's still Andy Rooney leading the bronze category at the moment. And we do have a swap in the silver category standings. As it's Jeffrey Kruger at the top of the silvers. This is definitely a turn of form that he needed for this round. Kevin Smith, 3rd place for him. Strong position in this race, and the Verano contingent will love that. A podium position for their drivers tonight is definitely what they would want to see. Ben McCluskey has set, in the last lap that is, fastest lap of the race, and he's the first of the drivers to get into the 41s. So, business as usual for him. A 2.5 second lead for him. It is easy pickings at the moment for our championship leader. Wessel still holds 2nd position, just ahead of Stephen Bird. A newcomer tonight, Jean McClone, is in the 4th position. Fantastic start for him. We have got an instant further back. It's Wesley Lewin. He's getting away again, but he had an incident. That's Baz Meacham right behind him. This is the CSA orange car we're looking at, and this is heading around the final 2 corners of the circuit. And then a bit wide there. Oh, it stays in a straight line. I'm not sure why it categorised that as a crash. It wasn't. It was an off. But that allows Baz Meacham through. Jamie Dory, 23rd place. Right behind Matt Emmons. Another driver of the Verano Motorsport contingent doing well in category. 2nd place in category, 22nd on the road, and 15 overall places gained in this race at the moment. So a good start to this round tonight for Emmons, as Jamie Dory heads around his outside, and actually there's a lot of damage on the front of that Mustang for Matt Emmons as he gets away quite slow from the set hairpin. Jamie Dory finds his way through, so now it's straight battle between him and Gabriel Papaconstantino, who nearly spins at the chicane there, and just about avoiding him as well Jochen Seeger and Mark Sykes as they head around the Kamsa curve here. Battle at the front as well. It's Wessels versus Bird, but this is close as well. Sykes on the outside of Papaconstantino, and he moves through. Battling still is these two then. That is Wessels versus Stephen Bird, and into the back of him he goes, and he just about keeps it going, does Stefan Wessels. Brilliant save from the South African driver, but he's a sitting duck now to everyone. Past goes Gaz Williams as he was able to get the better of the pace on McLaughlin and Wessels, and through goes Martin Hobson. Contact between him and the American driver just behind him now, but heading into turn number 1 he's on the inside of Wessels. Wessels has the better line for turn number 2 though, as round they go. Hobson is just about keeping hold of the car as it's tiptoeing sideways for him through turn number 2, and now Simpson might be past McLaughlin as well. He's really lost out due to having to back off, I suppose, with Wessels slowing on the final corner of that previous lap. Inside he goes. But actually, if McLaughlin can hang on to it, he can stay alongside, ready for the Sarah hairpin, which he does at the moment. The Porsche is ahead, and he may well go through here. No, I'm wrong. Simpson hangs on to it, and the outside line for the next corner is actually the better line to have. If you can both get through the corner side by side, that is. No, McLaughlin managed to hang on to it, and Simpson slots in behind, but he's under threat from Mike Barber, who's on his inside going into the Kamsa corner. Oh, just about avoided contact with one another, and it calms down a little bit for the time being in the gold category, but that's the power that this track can actually have. One little concertina and it causes havoc. Kruger's trying to get involved in this as well. He smells a top 10 overall, and you know it doesn't affect him points wise, but he'll take it. He definitely will. There's definitely overall pride to these drivers' races, not just category pride. And he's also got his teammate Carl Oosthuizen not far behind. Now they are indirect teammates, I would say. So what I mean by that is they are a part of the same. As we see Simpson going wide just up the road there. No, that wasn't Simpson. That was Sean Shute, another BMW driver of CSA. And he's going to be under threat here from Gavin Gardner, heading down the main straight into turn number 1. Not quite going to make it to the inside is Gavin Gardner. He backs off. It is actually with the cars struggling with these low temperatures and these very delicate setups, it's difficult to brake later than your opponents into the corners because it can really compromise your entry and your rear end grip into the corner. But Gavin Gardner's not giving up. He's also got Jeffrey Kruger on his outside, hounding him around the outside, and he'll have the inside for the Sarah corner. We saw a similar battle a lap ago between McLaughlin and Hobson. Oh, a little bit out of shape is Kruger, and he's going to be under threat from Oosthuizen here. Might compromise his silver lead, but no, he hangs on to it for the time being. Well, there we go. That was a brilliant couple of laps from the gold category drivers there. We'll head back to them now, but there's a lot of battling going on elsewhere on the circuit as well. This is the battle for 4th place in bronze category. Kurt Van Hoeniken leads it, and it's Adam Wilson. We are getting a good run out of the chicane there, but not enough to get into the inside heading into Kamsa. Let's see if there's going to be a move into the hairpin. Another good exit from Kamsa there from Adam Wilson Weir. He squeezes to the outside. Outbreaks going into the hairpin. Not much room between them, but Adam Wilson Weir moves sideways through contact, spins, and will lose more than one position as he falls to 7th in category. Oh, that's such a shame. It was looking like a very, very ambitious, brave, but potentially could move. And contact between the two of them has ended that potential battle. He falls behind his teammate, Andy Chell now. But we have got battling between Sean Shute and Gavin Gardner. And they're holding up a couple of drivers here. Jeffrey Kruger, Carl Oosthuizen and Alan McKay. This is the battle for 9th on the track. Gardner leads it for the moment. He's got 3 CSA cars right behind him, an orange army following him. It's like being at the Zandvoort around the Max Verstappen fans. As Gardner heads it at the moment. Now, this is a bit of a conundrum here for the CSA cars. You've got Sean Shute potentially holding up Kruger and Oosthuizen here. That might be the conversations going on in their little Discord chat. But also, Kruger might be saying to his team, you know, I got this guy behind him. No, we need to think about the team here. Or do they think about the Drivers' Championship at this point? It's very, very difficult, potentially political, with these inter-team rivalries. We are nearing the 3/4 point of this race. It is still McCluskey at the top of the standings, 3.5 seconds clear of Stephen Bird, having a much better round so far in this round. In third position, Gaz Williams, having a little battle here with Stefan Wessels. And Gaz Williams will be happy with the top 3. Has kind of missed the top 3 a little bit in recent rounds, but he'll take it in this race, that's for sure. Silver category, Jeffrey Kruger still leads. He's got his rival and his teammate right behind him there, getting close to him down the straight. But the McLaren is able to stay ahead for the time being. Oosthuizen backs off on the brakes there to allow a little bit of a gap between him and his teammate. Bronze category, been pretty easy here so far for Andy Rooney, as he heads the bronze category and top 20 overall, actually, so a good result for him. Matt Emmons, second position in category, and he's got a few cars between him and Gabriele Papaconstantino in the Lamborghini back here. Now, if we remember the Lamborghini from last season, Andy Chow was telling us all about it as he was driving it last season. It is a handful. And I imagine it's probably a handful with these low downforce setups and these low temperature tracks as well. So I do wonder what that Lamborghini is like right now. Remember, it's a fixed setup series, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I'm talking about. You cannot change anything on these cars. The car you're given, the setup you're given is the setup, and the car you must drive. It's all against all. As we see back here, Jochen Seeger hits the sausage curb there, really upsets the car, and it put him under a little bit of a threat from Mark Sykes just for a moment there, but he managed to hold it. Campster's not the easiest of corners to overtake in, but Sykes wasn't able to continue that potential move into the hairpin here. Towards the front, and this is still our battle for 10th. Sean Shute is losing the tail a bit from Gavin Gardner. The next gen driver's moving away, and it's just 3 CSA cars in a row with 1 next gen car lurking in the wings. That's Alan McCain, but the CSA drivers packed together. We've got Jochen Seegert versus Mark Sykes again. Seegert's on the inside and looks like he's lost a bit of power on that straight there. Sykes on the outside. Heading into the first corner we go. Oh, they're getting very close there. Camera, why did you switch? No. Oh, our TV director changing it at the last moment there, but no completed move just then. As Mark Sykes continues around the outside of Jochen Seeger, they just about had enough room. And now down the middle goes Gabriele Papaconstantino. Oh, and there's contact between the 3 of them, and they go off the track. It's almost just like Hamilton and Rosberg. Into the wall goes Sykes, and Seegert's off as well. Let's take a replay of that. So, heading out of turns number 1 and 2. Sykes is on the left, Seegert's on the right, and in the red car behind is Gabriele Papaconstantino. He makes it a 3 wide because the 2 back off here going a bit wide, heading out of Renault there. Through the middle goes Gabriele, but then the gap closes. I think it might have been Seegert moving across to the left, and there being no room in the end for the corner for all 3 of them. And that is going to be game over for Seeger and Mark Sykes. They'll have to take a fast repair, and they'll have to continue the race because you must finish the race and you must complete a certain amount of laps to be eligible for the reverse grid. So that's crucial for them. They've got to put this race behind them. They've got to think about the next race. Nigel Stock is losing a lot of points here, but he's well down the order, but he's going to finish the race within the amount of laps needed. But as it stands, you'll start pole position for the next race. That's what you got to think about when it's all gone to tatters in this race. Well, that was a big moment in the race. There's still lots of battling going on. Gabriel Papaconstantino's in the pits there, where, yeah, we saw he had to take a fast repair there. 8 down, loads of positions there, 8th position, but we've also got a battle here between Hobson and McLaren here. McLaren has been right in the centre of the battling on his debut tonight. Welcome to the series, mate. Into 5th place. Oh, and there's contact between him and Hobson, and more contact. Simpson's involved. Oh, and just about avoiding it was Gavin Gardner there, and that really shuffles things up in that top 10. Still loads of cars close together. Hobson carries on, but he's right behind Kruger here as Kruger finds himself into 9th place overall. He's got to protect his race here. The silver category drivers in this battle can't get too involved in the contact or in the battles. They've got to be careful. Hobson's fighting back on the outside as we head into the Banks Sambadell. But Kruger has the better line through the corner. Potentially starting the final lap here. I can't quite tell if the white flag was waving. I imagine it is, but McCluskey will be on his final lap here of the race. And we'll come back to him to greet him through for the win. He's had a relatively easy race thus far, as we see Hobson and Oosthuizen battling now. Hobson has lost out to Kruger, and Oosthuizen on the outside here, but the inside from the next corner. We'll have the outside for turn number 3. He's going to want to keep an eye on his silver category rival. Up ahead is Oosthuizen, but he's moving by. And Hobson here probably can't do anything to prevent that. He's going to have to try and slot back in on the racing line, which he does. Now, losing out to Kruger and Oosthuizen doesn't lose him points, but it does losing track position and time from 8th place Sean Shute, who's up the road. And it puts him under threat from Alan McCain, who finds himself on the inside and gives a big nudge to Oosthuizen, who moves around, turns around, and he just about keeps it going. And I think he's still 2nd place for the moment in the category, so he may well be safe. But that was a good save from Oosthuizen. Alan McCain with a big shunt up the rear, saying, "Ah, get out the way." Probably not. But yeah, that was a big scare for Oosthuizen. That could have been a lot worse for him. He stays 2nd in category, which is the crucial element of it. Meanwhile, we switch to our race leader and eventual race winner. He just about gets it over the 5-second gap mark as McCluskey will come through for another win in the championship. A brilliant, brilliant stamp on the championship as we're heading towards the halfway point in the season. Stephen Bird with his best result of the season, 2nd position for him, and Gaz Williams will be 3rd in category. The gold category, that is, and 3rd position overall. Jeffrey Kruger back with a bang. It's a win in the silver category for him. And it's a 1-2 for CSA as Carlos Jason just about hangs on to 2nd place despite the drama at the end. Kevin Smith with what I believe is his first podium result in silver of the season. Brilliant result for him and Verano. And Andy Rooney will cross the line, winner of the bronze category in the sprint race here at Catalunya. Back into winning form for the Quatermass driver. 2nd position in category to Matt Emmons, and 3rd in category to Elwyn Sykes, who is our championship leader heading into tonight of the bronze category. Plenty of incidents in that race. Plenty of swaps and positions. A lot of drivers moving around. There's actually only 3 drivers on the track who finished where they started in that race in a 44 car field. Yeah, Kate Eames in the comments there. A brilliant, brilliant race for the Verano Motorsport cars. Kevin Smith and Matt Emmons, good results for themselves. We wait for the drivers to finish the race. Drivers peel off in the pits. We'll go through the results of this sprint race very, very shortly. We won't look back on any replays because I think we covered just about everything in that race, actually. The main, one to lose out, I think, from everything was Ben Altry. He was fighting in the top 4, and a spin for him pushed him down to 17th. But I think that's my timing screen's telling me he's going to be pole position for the feature race. So yeah, he lost out on points in the sprint race, but he's got an easier ride of it in the feature race, and he's got the pace. to convert it, maybe. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. What we have seen, though, is the drivers are really struggling to keep hold of the cars here. And the cold temperatures, threat of rain, remember, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't got any at the moment, but we might get some in the feature race. But the cold temperatures and the low downforce setups on a track that historically you need a high downforce setup for is really tough. It's really tough for these drivers. But we are going to go through the results of our races tonight. I'm going to do it by category because that's how we calculate the points for the championship. So we'll go through the gold standings first, and it's Ben McCluskey with another win for the season. Let me just do the quick maths of how many races he's won this season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th win of the season. There we go. Stephen Bird, 2nd position, with Gaz Williams in 3rd position, and Stefan Wessels started 2nd but drops down to 4th place, but still a good debut to his rejoin to Next Gen. Mike Barber in 5th position, with Gene McLaughlin in 6th position and Gavin Gardner in 7th position. Sean Shute in 8th position, and in 9th will be Martin Hobson of Yorkshire Mafia Racing. Rounding off the top 10 is Alan McCain. Matthew Cheverton in 11th with his teammate just behind. Jake Pitt in 12th position. Edwin Simpson drops down to 13th in the end from that race, with Jamie Dory in 14th, Ben Bennyworth in 15th, Aaron Hobson in 16th, and rounding off the finishers, Ben Altrier, who will start pole position for the next race. Silver category, and it's a win for Jeffrey Kruger on his return to the series after a difficult round last time at Suzuka. Carlos Stason, leader of the championship, 2nd position for him, but it's still a good result for him in the championship, finishing ahead of his nearest rivals for the time being. Gavin Smith, an opening podium finish of the season for him, with Paul Walsh, another strong result for him in this race. We didn't see much of him in that race, but it's a strong position, equaling his best of the season, 4th position. Mike Reedner, strong result for him and his ECO teammate, 5th and 6th, with Mark Sykes in 7th. Neil Martin in 8th position, with Baz Meacham in 9th. Rounding off the top 10 is Wesley Lewin. Ian Manners will be finishing in 11th position there, with Matthew Addy behind in 12th. Mark Baker 13th. And Nigel Stock, last of the finishers, in 14th position. I believe he will be pole position for the feature race. Mark Kent did not start the race and is not racing tonight, unfortunately. Bronze category, a win for Andy Rooney, another win of for the season for him. And 2nd place to the Verana Motorsport driver of Matt Emmons. Championship leader of CSA, Elwyn Sykes in 3rd position. That will certainly benefit his championship finishing there. Kurt Van Honecker in 4th position, with Adam Wilson-Weir in 5th position. And the team leader of Quatermass, Andy Chell, 6th position. Craig Tillotson in 7th position, with 8th going to Gabriel Papaconstantino, who we saw was involved in drama earlier on in that race. 9th for Rob Savage, and rounding off the top 10 is Matt Gatter. Jonathan Berry in 11th place, with Stein Vatens in 12th, and not finishing the race is Nathan Lewis Stone. But I do believe it will be Stein Vatens who will start on pole position for the bronze category in the next race. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's been the sprint race of this opening race of the night, the sprint race, and we're going to have the feature race coming up very, very shortly. And as we mentioned, it'll be in around about 20 minutes we start that race, maybe a little bit more, but it'll be a 1 hour feature race, and it will feature pit stops. The way the pit stops work is the drivers start the race with 80% fuel load, but they are allowed to refuel to 100% capacity. So it means if they pit before the halfway mark in that feature race, they will have enough fuel to get on to the end. But when they pit is part of the strategy. The drivers have extra instant points for this next race. They'll have an extra 10 to utilise, should they need to. Shouldn't, but they're there if they need them. And if you exceed those instant points, remember, ladies and gentlemen, you do get a drive-through penalty, and you get another one per 10 you get on top of that. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the opening race of the night. We're just going to go for a quick break, but when we come back, it will be the feature race. Don't go away, we'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to NXTGEN Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.
Welcome back, everyone, to Barcelona-Catalunya, the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, for round 5 of the championship of the Next Gen Racing GT3 League. We've had a brilliant sprint race that's just preceded the current race we're preparing for here. And we'll have the feature race coming up very shortly, which will be a 60-minute race featuring pit stops, as we mentioned. But a little bit of housekeeping before we get started with our racing tonight. This is the Next Gen Racing GT3 League, as we mentioned, hosted on iRacing and hosted on Thursday nights here at Next Gen Racing. This is the last round before the halfway point in the season. We do have a week off next week, so we'll see you back in 2 weeks' time. But a little bit of a shout out to all of Next Gen Racing's sponsors, partners and affiliates of the organisation. That include PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC Builds and Support, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design and Moser Racing, as well as Only Racing, who are providing the prizes for the winners of this championship. £500 in store credits to the winners of this championship for to be used on online Only Racing's online store. We've got multiple formats we're racing this season, and the format we're racing tonight is the sprint race and feature race format. 20 minutes of sprint race and 60 minutes of a feature race, which is all preceded by 20 minutes of qualifying to set the grid for the sprint race. In other rounds this season, we also have an endurance format, which is a single 2-hour endurance race, with the grids of that based on the championship standings reversed, but we have more of them rounds later on this season. This is a fixed setup league, which means the setup you are given on your car is the setup you must drive in the races. You're not allowed to change anything other than brake bias, actually. You can't change wing settings, you can't change tyre pressures, damper settings, ride height, nothing like that. You're only allowed to drive yourself in that machine, and it is the best of what you've got that win. So, the championship this season looks a little bit like this. We have completed 4 of the 10 rounds, and we are halfway through the 5th round right now. We've got the feature race coming up very, very shortly here at Catalunya. But we started off the season at Fuji all them weeks ago, and then it was Road America for round 2 of the championship. Monza was round 3 of the championship and hosted the first of 3 endurance rounds of the season. Suzuka hosted round 4 of the season. That was last week, a week ago, but tonight we're here at Catalunya. Next week, as we mentioned, we have got a week off for Halloween, and then we're back in 2 weeks from today for the second of 3 endurance rounds of the season, and that'll be hosted at the Nordschleife. Of course, you're going to have an endurance round at the Nordschleife, absolutely legendary venue. Can't wait for that, and hopefully we get rain, because that'll really put the spanner in the works for that round number 6 of the season. Round 6, 7, and 8, 8 and 9, are sprint and feature race rounds, and they'll be hosted at Zolder in Belgium, Interlagos in Brazil, and the Nürburgring Grand Prix layout in Germany. And the final rounds of the championship will be hosted at the Daytona Road Course in America. The final rounds of the championship to see us at the season and see us towards Christmas. So, we've got the feature race coming up next, and the winners in our categories in that previous race were Ben McCluskey in the gold category, that is, and in the silver category it was Jeffrey Kruger, and in the bronze category it was Andy Rooney. So we'll see what happens in this feature race coming up shortly. The grid, as we mentioned, we'll go through it, of course, before the race starts, but it is reverse grid of each category grouped together, but reversed. So if you won the gold category, if you're Ben McCluskey, you will start last of the eligible finishers, that is, the ones eligible for the reverse grid. You'll start at the back of the grid for the feature race coming up. So Ben McCluskey's got all to do in this next race coming up very shortly, on a track that's difficult to overtake on a track that we've seen has been riddled with instances when the going has got tough between a lot of drivers out on the track. But we'll see how it pans out. Drivers out on the circuit at the moment, getting a last little bit of practice, because we've ended practice now. We're going to head into the feature race gridding process right now. So the grid will be as follows for this feature race. Ben Altry, who started very high up in the grid in the opening race of the night, will start first with Aaron Hobson alongside in second. Ben Bennyworth will start third. Alongside him will be Jamie Dory. Fifth position will start Edwin Simpson with Jake Pitt alongside him. Matthew Cheverton and Alan McCain in 7th and 8th. On the 5th row will line up Martin Hobson and Sean Shute, with Gavin Gardner in 11th place and Gene McLaughlin in 12th position. 13th and 14th will go to Mike Barber and Stefan Wessels, who rounded off the podium in the sprint race. Stephen Bird and Ben McCluskey, who were the top 2 steps of the podium, 15th and 16th, and at the back of the gold category. Starting at the front of the silver category, though, will be Nigel Stock and Mark Baker. Matt Addy will start 19th position with Ian Mannis in 20th, Wesley Lewin and Baz Meacham in 21st and 22nd. Neil Martin in 23rd on his debut today, and alongside him is Mark Sykes. Jochen Sieg at 25th with Mike Riedner in 26th. Paul Walsh and Kevin Smith will start 27th and 28th. Top 2 in the sprint race were Carl Oosthuizen and Jeffrey Kruger, therefore they'll start at the back of the silver pack in this race, 29th and 30th. Stein Vatens will start 31st, look out for him as he's got pace tonight. Jonathan Berry in 32nd. Rob Savage 33rd with Gabriel Papaconstantino in 34th, and 35th will be Craig Tillotson, 36th Andy Chell, Adam Wilson Weir 37th, and 38th is Kurt Van Honecker, 39th and 40th Elwyn Sykes and Matt Emmons, and Andy Rooney will start at the back of the grid, having won the bronze category sprint race. We're about to get underway with this feature race. It's a 1-hour race, as we mentioned, ladies and gentlemen. And heading us off will be Ben Altry in the gold category. Now, each category must remain approximately 3 seconds apart on their relative. So we'll have the gold category start first, and then behind will be the silvers, and then the bronzes, and they must go as soon as the lights turn green, which is now. Away they go, and a strong start for Ben Altry, as holding himself back a little bit was Aaron Hobson. Ben Bennyworth's got a good draft as we head down towards turn number 1. He opts to go right of Ben Altry, but the track is very narrow by there, and Ben Altry has got a nice safe braking into turn number 1, and Hobson is able to maintain second place around the outside. Silver category drivers heading into turn number 1, and here are the bronze category drivers headed by Stein Vatens. Kevin Smith's had an instant. You can see him facing the wrong way there. Oh, and he got a little bit of contact then from, I think that was Andy Rooney actually, as heading off the track is Kevin Smith, and after such a strong sprint race, that is such a bad start for Kevin Smith of Verano Motorsports. Ben Altry breaks away. Now he's got pace. We know that from qualifying, so it'll be good to see how he gets on in this early part of this race. Mike Barber moving up already. He's up into 10th place already. He's making his way past Gavin Gardner. And through he goes. It's Stefan Wessels next for him. And Stefan Wessels has also had a very good start to this race. Up a lot of positions from 12th, already in 9th position. Silver category. They're already on the back of the gold drivers. This is Nigel Stock right on the back of Ben McCluskey, heading the silver category. Now Nigel Stock needs a good result now, because the championships are getting slimmer and slimmer for him as rounds go by, with another bad race in the sprint race for him. Wessels and Barber side by side through the hairpin here, and it is Wessels who's got the inside for the next 2 corners. This might advantage him as we head down towards the main straight. Barber's hanging on by the thinnest of track widths, but just up ahead as well we've got Alan McCain right in between Ben Bennyworth and Edwin Simpson as he gets his way past and through Ben Bennyworth, battling with Edwin Simpson as we head down towards turn number 1. This is the battle for 4th position. Into the corner we go, and they're still side by side as we've seen it. Oh, hang on a minute, we've got an instant further back. Wessels is off the track here, so we saw him just a moment ago side by side with Mike Barber. Here we go, heading down the main straight, 3 wide. To the right of him is the NXTGEN driver. Now to the right of him is Hobson. It was 4 wide, but outbraking a little bit. Oh, and the two come together. Him and Barber come together, and off goes Wessels. It did look like that Wessels broke very late for that corner, but I'm not sure if it was too late or not. I couldn't quite tell. But either way, it leads to an instant, and he's well down the order. Bird moves past Gardner, and just up ahead, Hobson getting a little bit squirrely there, heading out of the chicane. Oh, and we've got Ian Manners facing the wrong way here out of the chicane. Let's see if we can get a quick snap of what happened to him. So this is him behind Baz Meacham. He goes into the back of Meacham and it just loses the rear. It looked a little bit squirrely on entrance anyway, but somehow everyone avoided Ian Manners there, and that helps Ian Manners race, and pretty good that everyone avoided him. We've also got Gene McClawn off the track as well. I can't quite catch him. Oh, he's in the wall as well. Driver's struggling to get the tyres warmed up potentially. Here we go, Gene McClawn, who had such a good debut in the sprint race. Moves to the inside and the braking contact between him and McCluskey there, and sideways there is Bennyworth. Into the back of him he goes. Wow. Gold category, it's all happening for them at the moment. There was a little bit of contact between McCluskey and the spun car of McClawn there. Might be a little bit damage on McCluskey's car, but he's carrying on anyway. He's passed a couple of cars, but although mostly through incidents, he's kept himself relatively out of trouble for the time being. New leader in the silvers though is Mark Baker, ahead of Nigel Stock. Let's see if I can find a replay of that. See how it happened. Can't find one at the moment. Yeah, maybe we'll pick it up later. But yeah, new leader in the silvers. So we'll see how Mark Baker gets on in this race. Stein Vaten still leads the bronze category, but not by much at the moment, as John Berry is just behind here in second place of category, 22nd place overall. And there we go, we'll get the category standings on there for us. A little bit easier to track the points as Nigel Stock moves past on the straight by Mark Baker and back into the lead of this silver category race. We've got Gavin Gardner here on the inside of Mike Barber, and Ben McCluskey is right in front of him, helping his next-gen teammate potentially, and McCluskey will now progress towards passing Hobson. At the front is still Ouchier leading by 4.5 seconds. A very healthy lead for Ouchier. I did say in the sprint race it'll look very, very probable that he'll have a good start and potentially lead in this race very early on if he can keep himself out of trouble. He did lose out his track position in the sprint race through a spin of his own accord. In the sprint race that was. But he might well be laser focused on making sure that doesn't happen in this race. Jake Pitt, third place here, trying to hunt down Aaron Hobson, trying to stay away from Alan McCain for the time being. As we've got Stein Vaten. This is the back of his Porsche we're watching from, and back there is Jonathan Berry. And Jonathan Berry is having a little bit of a tussle with Paul Walsh. Of drivers already been through the pits to take fast repairs. Jochen Siegert, Kevin Smith, Stefan Wessels, Ben Bennyworth, all have been through the pits. So we see Baz Meacham here, winner of last week's feature race, remember. Fourth place right now, and he's got the leaders in sight. As we see side by side here between Mark Sykes and Kyle Oosthuizen. Oosthuizen finished second in the first race, and it was a little bit of a drama-filled final lap for him, but he's up to fifth place here, ahead of his rival in the first race, Jeffrey Kruger, just 2 places behind him here. But Oosthuizen will have Nigel Stock in his sights, as he's the one he's got to beat in this race for championship purposes. And also Jeffrey Kruger, because when drop rounds come into play, Kruger will be back in the battle potentially for that championship. And just to inform you, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not aware of what drop rounds are where your 9 best results of the season count towards your championship, and your 1 worst result of the championship is effectively zeroed. So 9 of the 10 rounds count, as we see Jeffrey Kruger just making his way past Mark Sykes there. Oh, and there's a spin back there. That's Jonathan Berry. Oh, and there's another spin with another car there. That's Andy Chell. So a lot happening, and not good things happening to the Quatermass drivers right now. This is Jonathan Berry. Behind him is Paul Walsh. The rear just lets go midway through the corner. Nothing else he could do, really. As Andy Chell, he just spins around on his own as well. So it's the Corvette's really struggling at this point by the looks of it. And that really puts Andy Chell and Jonathan Berry out of contention for the time being. It does allow Stein Vatens into the clear. Oh, and there's another spin as well. That's Rob Savage and Neil Martin on his debut have taken a spin. Now let's see if there's contact. I'm fairly sure the two just lost it through the corner. So this is Rob Savage, and just behind him is Neil Martin. The car's really struggling out there. This is another Corvette losing it. Oh no, sorry, this is a Ferrari. Oh, actually, we'll take another snap of that, because that was Neil Martin getting on the grass and the rear end just swapping ends on him. Yep, the rear end on the grass, and it just spins him into Rob Savage. It certainly wasn't intentional from Neil Martin, but it has caused an incident there. And will mean for a potentially quiet rest of race for him, unless he can get himself back in the battle. Stephen Bird's in the pits for some reason. Now, what's happened to him? Let me see if there's an incident involving Stephen Bird. Not by the looks of it. Not by the looks of it. Well, we'll get back with the action. He's moving out of his box just then. Yeah, I've seen no instance for Stephen Bird. I doubt it is a strategy choice. I'm not too sure. But we're back with the silver category here. Oosthuizen has moved past Baz Meacham. This is how he did it. That's Meacham right ahead of him. He's real close to him at this point, and this is heading out of turn number 3, heading up towards Repsol turn number 4. He just moves to the inside and glides to the inside under braking. Meacham gives him enough room, thinking he could probably power it around the exit, but actually Oosthuizen's corner speed was exceptional through there just then. And he's up to 4th place, and this is good for his championship, because he's got Nigel Stock in sight here. Not far between 1st and 4th here. We can look back and you can actually see as far back as 6th in category at the moment. But Nigel Stock needs good points, and seeing his rival catch up behind is not what you'll want to see. Ben McCluskey continues heading up the order. He's actually got a little bit of a gap to close up between him and Edwin Simpson just up ahead. Just up there. Our line astern, 2nd to 6th. But the gap between 1st and 2nd for the moment is a pretty big one. As you can see there, 7.3 seconds. But there's a big queue of cars right behind Aaron Hobson here. And they're potentially going to have a pretty good battle for these podium spots. Two CSA cars in there. One Aztec racing car and one Yorkshire Mafia racing car. Oh, a little bit out of shape then was Aaron Hobson. But it's not enough to invite Jake Pitt in for a potential move. And of this 5-way battle, 2 Porsches, 2 BMWs and 1 Mercedes. The Porsche is not a car we've seen in popularity this season. To be last season, it was considered OP of all the GT3 cars, but this season, not so much. It's very much Ferrari and McLaren at the moment, and to a degree, BMW. But the Porsche nowhere near as popular this season as I thought it would be heading into it. It was the winner in the gold category last season, as we see side by side between Mark Baker and Kyle Oosthuizen heading through the final turn, so close together, but powering it around the outside is the South African of Oosthuizen. Oh, and a little bit of door-to-door contact as they get onto the straight there, but easing ahead at the moment is Oosthuizen in that BMW, and heading down towards turn number 1. Who's going to be later off the breakers? I think a little bit later on the brakes was Mark Baker there, and a little bit of contact between the two. That sends Oosthuizen a little bit wide, and back into the leading position of the two is Mark Baker, and a little bit of the flash of the lights there from Kyle Oosthuizen. He wasn't happy with what Mark Baker did then, But he's going to have to try again. He's got a good undercut here. Heading out of turn number 3 to the inside of turn number 4. Just like what he did on Baz Meacham only a lap or 2 ago. And actually Baz Meacham is there battling with Jeffrey Kruger as well. And the CSA cars are really making damage on this battle here amongst the high positions in the silver category. And Baz Meacham there. Not only did he get back past Jeffrey Kruger, but he's alongside Mark Baker as we head into the TV3 corner, and he's through. Brilliant set of corners from Baz Meacham there. Trying to hang on to his position is Mark Baker. It's not looking good at the moment as Kruger's going to power around the outside. McLaren versus McLaren at the moment. And as we head down towards the hairpin of Leikster, later on the brakes is Mark Baker, but he understeers off. He hits the grass and he's going to go sideways. Oh, he just about avoids Mark Sykes. But he loses a lot of positions as a result. The pressure might have got to him a little bit then. As he brakes real late for the corner, you can just see it. He moves back ahead of Kruger into braking, but he couldn't get it stopped. He ends up on the grass and it slips sideways. He'll be gutted about that. He'll be absolutely gutted, but he can still pick up points from this race. Oosthuizen's in the clear here in 3rd place though. He's got a couple of seconds to close down because Stock, through all that battling with Carlos Oosthuizen and Meacham, Kruger and Baker just then, Nigel Stock's able to stretch away, bringing with him Matthew Addy. Matthew Addy, I will say, he's been a little bit of a silent assassin in this championship, because in the silver category he's just scored big points, though not the most points and not the most wins in this category. He will, when the drop rounds come into play, be in those top spots in the championship if all continues. He's putting in good results and got himself in a good championship position as we head out of the first half of the season. Right, let's pick on the bronze category for a minute. Vayton still leads. He's got Paul Walsh between him and Gabriel Papaconstantino back here. Papaconstantino will need big points out of this round here, and he would have scored a few on top of his rival Elwyn Sykes in the sprint race. But he'll need to score more in this feature race, and it's looking good at the moment for him. Like I said, this bronze category is going to be super exciting this season. But I think out of this round, breakaway leaders might end up being Sykes and Papaconstantino. But it's a long season. It's a long season. Andy Rooney still to consider as well. He's 8th place in this race at the moment. Stein Vayton, he was quickest in practice in the bronze category. He's actually in the top 15 in practice, I believe. So plenty of pace on this Belgian driver right here. And if he can convert this, it'll be his first win of the season. And I'm just going to look back through my book at the different winners we've had in the bronze category this season. Last round at Suzuka, Elwyn Sykes won the feature race. Kurt Van Hoornke won the sprint. Nathan Lewis Stone won the bronze category endurance round at Monza. So that's 3 different winners already. Let's count Andy Rooney out of this sprint race we've just seen. That's 4 different winners. We've got Elwyn Sykes, who won at Road America, and Andy Rooney. And then we've got Danny Switzer, who won the opening race of the season at Fuji. So we've had 6 different winners this season in the bronze category alone. And this might be a 7th potentially if it finishes as it stands. Hats off to another driver in the bronze category. Matt Emmons is into 3rd place here. He started last but 1 on the grid, and he's up to 3rd place in category. And bear in mind, he finished, because he started so far back there, it's because he finished 2nd in the sprint race. So it's been a very good night so far for Matt Emmons in Verana Motorsport. Meanwhile, we have got big battling here towards the front of the gold category. It's Hobson versus McCain here as Jake Pitt has moved past Aaron Hobson. And we've also got McCluskey and Barber battling back here. McCluskey making progress towards 2nd place, but into the pits goes Sean Shute. Probably for his first scheduled pit stop of the night. He's decided enough's enough. He's getting out of the battle here. He's ducking out. Now let's see if we can get a quick shot of Jake Pitt and his overtake. We'll just wait for this battle to pass by because we've got Hobson back alongside, outbraking the Porsche driver. And I don't know if he's going to complete it, but it was looking very good. No, turn 2 wasn't very good for Hobson. Through goes Pitt, And through goes Alan McCain into third place potentially. He's got the inside for this corner and the next corner. But Ben McCluskey's lurking there. He's ahead of Mike Barber. Will he get involved in this battle straight away? It's still side by side between Hobson and McCain. Oh, McCain got a little bit sideways then. And through goes McCluskey. He takes two in one corner there. A little bit of contact between McCain and Hobson allowed McCluskey through and into third place. It also brought with him Mike Barber. Brilliant, brilliant battling between them. And this was the pass from Jake Pitt on Aaron Hobson just a lap ago. Good exit actually from the Campster corner. And as we head into Lacaisha, out braking, under braking. And I think that Porsche is just able to get on the power a little bit earlier out the corners. Because we saw near a lap later, Jake Pitt was able to boot it out of the corner and get back past. Oh, hang on a minute. Oh, I had a mini heart attack then. As Ben McCluskey blinked in and out of existence then. I just wondered if his internet was on the blink then. Quite literally. But no. Just a little bit of iRacing glitch there, among the many. But McCluskey's into the top three placings. He's ahead of all his rivals in the championship. This is all he really needed to do, is get in front of his rivals, as it hasn't quite been... Hang on, where is Gaz Williams? Well, Gaz Williams isn't in this race. Oh. Odd. I wonder why. I'll have to check on that later. But, yeah, he had to get in front of Gaz Williams. He had to get in front of Mike Barber, Gavin Gardner, Edwin Simpson, and he's ahead of them now. Mike Barber keeping him company still. We saw in Suzuka, Barber's got extremely good pace. He was quite disappointed with himself when we spoke to him in the interview room last time after Suzuka. He's certainly not shy of a good performance in this series. Back with the silvers. They're really not that far off the gold category here. As we see Kruger, he's made his way past Meacham. Oh, and actually Meacham, I think, might have had a little bit of drama there. He did. He was off the track. And this is what happened. He's ahead of Kruger there. As you can see, Kruger's in the orange car behind. Multicoloured Jackson Pollock style car is Meacham here. Yeah, a little bit hot into the corner. The back slips away. And he stamped on the brakes to basically get it back in a straight line. And that drops him to 5th place. Stock still leads though. Less than a second ahead of Matthew Addy, and it's Carl Oosthuizen in 3rd position here. He'll be targeting those top 2 places, and this all might be done in the pits. That's how it might all end up being done by these drivers, or one of these drivers, shall we say. In the bronze category, Stein Vatens has lost his lead here. Well, not lost his lead, but lost the time of his lead here to Gabriel Papaconstantino, who's right behind him now. Baz Meacham's in the pits. He's decided to call it quits on this set of tyres and get some more fuel in the car. Following that mistake, he might have just thought, you know what, I'll go in the pits, I'll cool off a little bit and I'll get myself some nice clean laps as I head out on fresh boots. Aaron Hobson. Something's happened to Aaron Hobson then. I think... Oh, he moved past Alan McCain there. Do excuse me. Saw the timing screen blink as we see across the curb there was Alan McCain. Oh, as he moves wide there, I think the car might have let go on Alan McCain there. I'm quite sure. But that puts him down to 6th and Hobson up to 5th position. Then McCluskey right behind Jake Pitt. A good run out of Campster. And he'll move to the outside as we head towards Lacaisha. Outside he goes. He's definitely got his nose in front. And he's going to have the better line and the better position as we head towards the next hairpin. But a bad exit from the corner as we go into the bank. Sambadell. McCluskey needs a good exit from this corner to get it truly in front of Jake Pitt. And now he's done it. Into 2nd place goes McCluskey. But to win this race... It's going to be a tall order for him, but he's got 12 seconds to close up on Ben Altra up the road, who we know is quick already based on his practice performances today already and qualifying. As Mike Barber moves to the pits, he's decided, you know what, I'm going to try and undercut the pair of them. Maybe that's what he's thinking. But a lot of drivers choosing early stops in this race, which is what I've noticed. Matthew Addy, another one. He might be trying to get the undercut on Nigel Stock, as he was right behind Nigel Stock until that pit stop. What it does do to Nigel Stock, though, which he won't be happy with, is it potentially sets Kyle Oosthuizen loose onto him. Nigel Stock has picked up a win already this season. He'd be keen for another. Oh, we've had a spin. Oh, I think that's Jeffrey Kruger, yeah. A half spin for Jeffrey Kruger, and he lost it on his own. You could just about hear it on the speakers. And it didn't actually pop up as an instant for us. That's how close he was. But he managed to keep it relatively pointing straight. Keeps third place, but he just loses a little bit of time. About 3 seconds to his teammate up ahead here. But that's what's been happening today, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, hang on a minute. I can see the wipers going for Kyle Oosthuizen here. Could it be? Not apparently. We haven't got any rain falling. Maybe he just got the wipers going for the fun of it. Oh, got my hopes up then. But it's so slippery out there, it might as well be raining. It's so difficult for these drivers to keep hold of these cars, as I was mentioning. They're losing the rear end so easy. Oh, hang on a minute. We got Gabriel Papaconstantino, who was second place in the bronze category, moves down to third, and Matt Emmons up to second. And that is going to cost him quite a bit. Let's see what happened. Jake Pitt is in the pits from the gold category, I've just noticed. Now, this might have been a move on Stein Vatens. It was. He moves to the inside. Oh, and there's contact between the two, and round goes the Cypriot driver. It might be one says, oh, no, you understeered into me. No, you turned into me. It might be one of those instances where the drivers will endlessly argue about it. But ultimately, it loses Papaconstantino a place and quite a bit of time, as we see Jake Pitt in the pit. He moves back out. He's in this battle for the top 3 placings, so we'll see where he comes back out. It appears he might well be behind Stephen Bird and Edwin Simpson, but he has come out behind Mike Barber. He's moved past him. So Mike Barber on his charge. But I do think Edwin Simpson and Stephen Bird, as you can see here, both of them have made stops. They did, but they're very early stops. Now, whether they need to save fuel or not, they can refuel to 100% capacity, which I believe in these GT3 cars can do somewhere between 50 and 55 minutes, if my memory serves me right. So I haven't done GT3 or endurance racing for a long time, so I'm a little bit out of whack. So we'll see how that favours Edwin Simpson and Stephen Bird towards the end of the race. It might have been that they pitted at the earliest possible moment in order to get a nice clean track around them, and that's moved them ahead of Mike Barber and Jake Pitt for the time being. Nigel Stock has decided to stay out for the time being. Now, his reasoning might be he's getting a little bit of a slipstream ahead from Gavin Gardner and Martin Hobson, so it might be boosting his lap times here. But the issue for him is Kyle Oosthuizen's catching, and he's very close now. Much better traction through the opening chicane of the lap, through Elf. As he moves around, he's looking around for a move to take the lead in the race potentially. Got a couple of drivers in the pits. Matt Emmons of the bronze category, who was second in the category, heads into the pits. And that gives Stein Vatens in the bronze category a little bit of breathing space. McCluskey, clear track around him, and he's got to put in some big lap times to be able to catch up with Ben Altria. If he can close up 12 seconds on Ben Altria by the end of this race, I'll be gobsmacked if he can do that. That's a huge closing to carry out, but we'll see. We'll see. Paul Walsh moving past his indirect teammates. And speaking of teammate, another next-gen racing driver, Alan McCain, moves past Aaron Hobson as Aaron Hobson in the Mercedes is in the pits. The only Mercedes driver in the field. We've also got Jeffrey Kruger in the pits. Now, Jeffrey Kruger had a half spin a few laps ago. 3rd place heading into the pits. Now, he will be keen to get himself back out in front of Matthew Addy and maybe Baz Meacham. Maybe that half spin might have compromised him a little bit on net position to those two drivers. So we'll keep an eye on it. This is Matthew Addy. He was in closest contention for 1st place in silver category. We'll keep an eye on them as well because it is rather close between Nigel Stock and Oosthuizen still. Kruger's moving out of his box now. Addy moves past. He's past Jeffrey Kruger, so it did cost him quite a bit of time. Baz Meacham's heading down the main straight here. Is he going to be able to move past Kruger? No, he's not. Kruger's safe from Baz Meacham at the moment, but Baz Meacham did go off the track we saw earlier on, so that's kept Kruger relatively safe. But Matthew Addy is in a good place here as he wants to put in the big laps to make sure he stays ahead of Stock and Oosthuizen. He's lapping quicker than them. He's lapping over half a second. Actually, over 3/4 of a second quicker than them, as Oosthuizen's moved alongside, potentially past Nigel Stock to potentially take the lead in the silvers, but Nigel Stock moves back ahead on the apex at the hairpin there. He holds the outside. He's able to get it back to the apex, but he was allowing Oosthuizen a little bit of room there. Stays in 1st place for the time being. This is slowing them up. Matthew Addy might be able to get a big undercut on these two, and now's the time potentially for all that to take action as Nigel Stock and Oosthuizen are in the pits to take their singular pit stops of the night. Altry is in the pits as well. McCluskey's in the pits as well. Into the pits goes Oosthuizen. He'll want a good stop in the pits there. Nigel Stock. Yep, neither of them overshoot their boxes, so this is going to be close between these two. Pit box exit is going to be crucial between these two. We've got a lot of drivers in the pits. Paul Walsh in the pits. Papa Constantino's in the pits. Martin Hobson. Ian Manners. Here's Oosthuizen as he moved past Nigel Stock. No, he hasn't. I think he's lost a little bit of time actually from Nigel Stock. But here comes Matthew Addy. He's going to make his way past Nigel Stock. And he will lead the silver category by some margin, actually. A couple of seconds. Oh, as he's making his way around Martin Hobson. Close between them two. And Matt Addy is not hanging around. He wants cars between him and Nigel Stock. Powers it around the outside at Renault, but this might cost him a little bit of time. Stock might be able to close back up, but Stock and Oosthuizen have both got to warm up their tyres, as it's very, very difficult on brand new tyres on these setups and on these cold tracks. And Addy still trying to make his way past Hobson. In fact, he might have done it. Yes, he has. He's got a car between him and his rivals in silver category. That is exactly what he needed. And that's the cool thing actually here of indirect category battles, is you can use the other cars in the other categories to your advantage. And that is half what Matthew Addy's going to be doing here with Martin Hobson. That's why he was so keen to get in front of the Yorkshire Mafia driver. It's because it will help him hold up Nigel Stock and Carl Oosthuizen. Altry ahead down the main pits, and he'll retake the lead in the race here following his one pit stop. He moves past Jamie Dory, Alan McCain, Gavin Gardner to retake the lead. Ben McCluskey will head down the main straight. He has got a bit of time between him and Edwin Simpson, who did not get the better of McCluskey following the stops. Neither did Stephen Bird. But Mike Barber has closed back up on them, so this could be an interesting battle for the 3rd place spot as Jake Pitt is following behind, but Alan McCain and Gavin Gardner were not able to keep up with them. McCluskey's in the clear here in 2nd position, but this battle for 3rd is going to be very interesting between Simpson, Bird and Barber. This might well be a potential battle for 3rd or even 2nd in the championship as Stephen Bird moves to the inside of Edwin Simpson. These three are close together in the championship, and with Gaz Williams not racing in this race, it will help them out on points. Meanwhile, in the bronze category, Steinvaten still leads in the bronze category. He's got quite a gap between him and Matt Emmons. 7 seconds. It's opened up through the round of pit stops there. But back here, we've got Adam Wilson-Weir in 3rd position here. This will be a brilliant result for Adam Wilson-Weir in this season. I don't... No, he hasn't won a race yet this season. I think he's picked up a 3rd place. I think that might have been at Monza as well. My memory serves me right, but a podium placing for Adam will be very good for himself in the championship. Elwyn Sykes and Gabriel Papaconstantino are close to each other in the championship, so this will be a straight fight between them two, and the Cypriot driver will definitely want to be in front of the two to help close the gaps some amount in the championship. Andy Rooney, our sprint race winner, not having a great race at the moment. He just seems to be out on his own a little bit in this race and can't seem to make up much ground, as to the inside of Elwyn Sykes went Gabriel Papaconstantino, and I'll get a replay of that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry we couldn't get that live. But heading out of Campstone, heading down to Lacaisha, a bad exit from Elwyn Sykes and a good exit from Papaconstantino to the inside. Sykes understeers a little bit on exit, and Papaconstantino keeps it nice and tight to the apex and passes through. So that's 4th place for him in category at the moment. He stretches away a little bit from Sykes, actually, as he's got Ian Manners to worry about a little bit behind him as well. Not in the same category, albeit. Let's also keep an eye on the silver category, as Oosthuizen's right behind Nigel Stock. And this is exactly what I said might happen. Matthew Addy will stretch away as Martin Hobson gets locked in a battle with Nigel Stock and Oosthuizen. And remember, Martin Hobson in the car at the head of this 3 is in the gold category. So this further helps Matthew Addy, who stretches away and is right behind Gavin Gardner, actually. So that potentially is going to be towing him along. It remains to be seen if Gavin Gardner actually holds him up. I'll be quite surprised, because Gavin Gardner is top 4 in the gold category in the championship. But Matthew Addy's no slouch either. Matthew Addy, I remember him starting in sim racing. It wasn't on iRacing, it was on Race Room. I remember that in the Next Gen Touring Car Series on Race Room. Come a long way. Let's go from Race Room to pace setter here in silver category on iRacing in Next Gen. And as we see, McCluskey has set the fastest lap of the race. The gap's now down to 10.5 seconds, and that was a 41.8 for him. And it was about 3 tenths quicker than Ben Altra on the previous lap. That's definitely not going to be enough time to close up, but you know, McCluskey's doing what he can. He's doing the maximum of what he can get out of that car. Altra might have, in fact, opened up, bar any mistakes, might have opened up enough of a gap to maybe bring this one home. Still, that battle rages on, as we see Stephen Bird go a little bit wide, heading out of Elf there. No, Sayat, sorry, do excuse me, turn number 4-5 on the circuit. Barber all over the rear of him. A little bit of a game of chess between these 3. Straight battle between them, but they'll want to do it most opportune moments. As Mike Barber takes a look to the inside, and they're locked in not a stalemate between each other, but they're locked into a very tight battle with each of the 3 of them. Oh, and there's a spin up ahead. I think that's Stefan Wessels. I think it is. I can't quite find him on here. He's a lap down. That's why I couldn't. But he's stuck on the inside there, and I think he spun at his own accord there. It's not been the fairy tale comeback he wanted. Oh, and I think we've had Aaron Hobson's had an instant as well. Yeah, just spins himself on the inside of the hairpin there, and Aaron Hobson heading towards the same corner. Yeah, the rear end just lets go on him as well. Stefan Wessel's still on the inside there. And then the mistakes from the drivers, it just comes from how delicate these cars are on this circuit right now. Still, this battle for silver rages on. 2 drivers locked in a championship battle. Stock and Oosthuizen. As Oosthuizen moves to the inside of Nigel Stock. Oh, just about gives enough room on the inside for him, does Stock. And he'll have the inside for the next corner. But we've seen Oosthuizen able to hang it around the outside of a lot of drivers tonight. But Stock stays ahead. Guards the inside still for the next corner, giving a little bit of room to Oosthuizen. Stays in front, but inviting themselves into this battle potentially is Jamie Dorey. He's in gold category, but also Jeffrey Kruger. He's had a half spin earlier on in this race, and he's now working his way back up to a potential battle for a podium tonight. He's also in this championship battle. In fact, this championship silvers, although it's being headed quite convincingly by Oosthuizen at the moment, you can definitely say that Matthew Addy, Nigel Stock, Jeffrey Kruger and Ian Manners are going to be involved in that championship battle for probably second as the season wears on. Remains to be seen if we'll get a drop round application after tonight. We did last season, but it'd be good to see drop round as it stands after tonight, actually, because it'd be a good state of play as we head into the second half of the season. And the second half of the season, different to the first half of the season, is going to have an extra endurance round. So there'll be 2 endurance rounds, and that'll be our next port of call. The Nordschleife will be our next round in 2 weeks from today, and that'll be a 2-hour endurance around the Green Hell. Nigel Stock is all over the rear of Hobson. He's lining up a move here. Ferrari to Ferrari. To the inside he goes. Hobson's not going to fight too much potentially with Nigel Stock because he's in a different category. But he's not going to give it up so easily. Yes. Oh, he moves behind, and Oosthuizen had to stamp on the brakes there. Right in front of him was a Yorkshire Mafia Racing shaped Ferrari right in front of him. And he just about avoided a potential major incident then. Oh, and the Jamie Dorey takes a spin. I'm not sure if there was contact then, but he takes a spin going through TV3. Oh, he taps the rear, and there was a bit of netcode actually. He taps the rear of Oosthuizen, and it sends him round and down the order a little bit. It does allow Kruger a straight line of sight on Oosthuizen, but now Nigel Stock has got the advantage that Matthew Addy has had for the last few laps. He's now got Hobson between him and Oosthuizen, and if Oosthuizen takes his time to pass Hobson, if he can even pass Hobson, it might allow Stock to stretch away. Stock can work on potentially catching Matthew Addy, but there's a 2.3 second gap between them. We will watch this space as we head back to this battle for third position in the gold category. We've got Simpson, Bird and Barber. Jake Pitt is closing in, I would say. Not too far away, and if them 3 battle, Pitt will be invited in. Unwillingly invited, actually, but nevertheless. Now, it's fairly close between 2nd to 5th in the bronze category here. We've got Matt Emmons at the head of this battle. Now, he finished 2nd in the sprint race. Getting himself a 2nd in the feature race as well. Will be some going. But we've got Adam Wilson-Weir in 3rd place here. He's being charged by Gabriel Papaconstantino at the moment, and Elwyn Sykes not too far behind these as well. But in the clear, in the bronze category, 6 seconds clear is Stein Vatens. If he can keep it going, on course for a debut win in the bronze category championship. For this battle here, 4-way battle for the bronze category runner-up spot. Oosthuizen is on the inside of Martin Hobson as we head through the Bank Sambadel, and he's going to be through. We're going to quick replay of that as we just see how it finishes off. Hobson all over the place going through. Europe car there, the rear end just letting go on him. The low downforce Ferrari really struggling through there on him, and Jeffrey Kruger might be able to plan his attack. He will not want to hang around too long behind Hobson, because even Stock has created a little bit of a gap between him and Oosthuizen, but has not brought down the gap between him and Addy. This is how it got done for Oosthuizen on Hobson. This is heading out of Kamsa and a bad exit from Hobson. Oosthuizen will take to the outside. He could have gone to the inside, but it was probably a little bit more risky with all the marbles on the inside. Sticks to the racing line at least until the mid-corner and is able to keep it on the outside and therefore the inside for the next corner. Okay, so Nigel Stock. Can't quite catch Addy at the moment, but he's going to try and keep it away from Oosthuizen at the moment. Jeffrey Kruger is going to want to get past Martin Hobson pretty quick, and he might have a chance here. He takes to the outside of Hobson. Going to try and complete a similar move to his teammate. Keeps it round the outside. He's going to have the inside for the next corner. And he does. He makes it through. He's only lost a lap, to be fair, being behind Hobson, and now he's got Oosthuizen up ahead. Now, the thing is, in the first race, Oosthuizen didn't really put much of an attack on Kruger, and now it's the other way around. They've swapped positions effectively. So, papaya rules? It's not papaya, it's orange, but could it be? Or as we see a position swap, Bird and Simpson swap places, and I got a feeling Simpson went a little bit wide there. He's now under attack from Barber as well. We'll go back to a replay of that move, and there's contact. Bird goes off the track and into the wall. Race over for Bird. He'll try and go back to the pits, but the car is... yeah, he won't be able to. The car's not moving, and that's race over for Stephen Bird, effectively. Let's get a replay of it. Let's see exactly how that happened. Now, initially... excuse me, that's the wrong replay. Now, Bird makes the move on Simpson. Getting a good slipstream into turn number 1. Ducks out, ready for braking. Much later on the brakes. Is able to ease it into the corner and gets past. Outside goes Simpson. Round the corner they go. Oh, this netcode. It's big netcode between them. Now you did see we're going to get another replay of that. But you did see Stephen Bird's car get a little bit of a wiggle on the inside on the curb. Just keep an eye on it. We'll go in quarter motion here. There's a little bit of a wiggle of the car here and it spits him off the curb. But then there's no contact, and then there's massive contact in the blink of an eye there between the two. And that sends Bird off into the wall. Netcode. The absolute ruiner of iRacing sometimes. It was looking like a good race as well. But it's now straight up between Barber and Simpson. Simpson might have a little bit of damage on that front right. On the bumper. We'll see if we can get in a little bit closer on that. Maybe some unconventional camera angles here. Can't quite see anything on the car there. We might have got away with that. Sometimes what happens with iRacing netcode is iRacing can realise its netcode and then automatically repair your car. Now, we've seen that happen in some very odd scenarios on iRacing in the past, particularly in this league. Might have been what happened to Elwyn Simpson there, because it was quite heavy contact between him and Stephen Bird. But they'll continue on. Let's check back in with other battles. Stock is being caught by Oosthuizen here. And Matthew Addy is getting away. 3 seconds, near 3 seconds clear. He's just edging out a 10th here and a 10th there and a 10th here and a 10th there on Stock. And that's making it all the more harder for Stock and Oosthuizen and even Kruger to think about a win in this race here. It's been a brilliant execution in this race so far from Matthew Addy. Stock will be absolutely determined. Was trying to find the words in my mouth for my brain there. He'd be absolutely determined to keep ahead of Oosthuizen, to slim down the gap in the championship between the two. Just reading the comments on YouTube. Yeah, Stephen Birds, let us know in the comments. I can understand a little bit frustrated. What I will say is all drivers check the replays and that sort of thing after incidents, just to be sure about what you felt, what you saw, and what actually happened and that sort of thing. Just to come away from that. Flashing the lights here from Nigel Stockholm, drivers in front, and Carlos Jason there. I've got a feeling, actually, no, I take that back. I've got a feeling they were thanking the driver for letting them through, because there was a back marker there they were just passing. But yeah, back to that incident there with Stephen Bird. It's, I'm fairly sure there was netcode in that incident, which I hate in iRacing. I really do. It's yeah, it's a cruel sim world. Alright, let's have a little bit of a rundown of our order then, as things rage on. We'll hang with it for a second, actually, because Oosthuizen got close to Nigel Stock. Outbreaks going into turn number 1, holds the outside. We'll have the inside for turn number 2 here, and actually a better line from Oosthuizen there, but Nigel Stock will hold the inside for the longer corner here. Back in front he goes, but Oosthuizen might be able to get a good run out of turn number 3 here. To the inside, guarding the inside. And keeps hold of it. Yeah, let's have a little bit of a rundown of our order. So our outright race winner, leader, sorry, at the moment is Ben Outra in the Audi of Full Tilt Motorsport. The last time we saw a Full Tilt driver win a race was last season, where Karol Pachałka dominated the season pretty much. And we'll be seeing a Full Tilt car back on top potentially tonight. Closing down the gap, but probably not at the rate that he needs to with 10 minutes to go. Ben McCluskey, championship leader. I mean, he'll still take this. Still a good haul of points. It's not a win, which he'll definitely want, but it's still a large haul of points on his rivals. Mike Barber, 3rd position. He stretched away a little bit from Edwyn Simpson. Holds 3rd place for the time being. Edwyn Simpson, the aforementioned, in 4th position. Jake Pitt in 5th position. This is a good result for him. He's been a little bit quiet lately in the series, but this will be a good result for him, with Alan McCain in 6th position. And just behind there is Gavin Gardner. Hovering behind here is the leader of the silver category, getting towed along by these gold category drivers. Matthew Addy leading the silver category, and he hasn't won a race yet this season in the silver category, so this will be a first for him. Nigel Stock locked in an intense battle with Oosthuizen and Kruger just behind. They're his they're some of his championship rivals at the moment, and that battle is raging on. Oosthuizen and Kruger, 3rd and 4th, both CSA drivers. Oosthuizen has won the most races in the silver category this season, as he takes a little look to Nigel Stock on the inside there. But Oosthuizen won the most races in the silver category this season, and he'd be keen to win more. Hobson in 8th place in category, and he's followed fairly close behind by Baz Meacham, who's 5th in category in the silvers. We'll move down to the bronze category. Matt Emmons leads. Okay, so what's happened to Stijn-Wetens? Stijn-Wetens has fallen down the order, and I can't see why. Oh, he's had an off. So Stijn-Wetens is no longer leading the bronze category, and I wonder if this is how it's happened. I'm not sure if that was it. Oh, it might have been. Oh, he goes off the track a little bit there. Not too sure. We'll go back to live. I can't see what's happened to Stijn-Wetens. He's getting overtaken. Yeah, he's losing position hand over fist here. This is the move for the lead from Matt Emmons. Off goes Vatens. Yes, he does. Oh, no, and he spun. He spun nearly into Papa Constantino. Rejoins, and past him goes Constantino, Papa Constantino, and Wilson Weir. Oh, and another spin as well. That's... Oh my word, that was so much to watch just then. But Stein Vatens is struggling here. And what was looking like an almost guaranteed win. I even said it might have been so. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. He is struggling here. He's touring here. I know it's a grand tour he's driving, but this is touring speed here. And he's really struggling with that car by the looks of it. And with the 7 minutes remaining in this race, he's trying to get it to the end. But we now have a new leader in the bronze category. It's Matt Emmons. He hasn't won a race yet this season in the bronze category, and tonight has been very rewarding for him. Our thumbnail for this broadcast tonight is a Verano Motorsport car, and it seems to have been a good omen for them. As we see a swap of positions between Kruger and Oosthuizen. Now, I wonder how that would have come about. So Oosthuizen's in the BMW, leading of the two. Nigel Stock just ahead. Oosthuizen went up on the curb a little bit there. That might have been a cut track penalty. I think he had a slowdown, yeah, and he had to let through Kruger. That's what I reckon happened, and he's lost him a bit of time. Now Kruger is set on to the back of Nigel Stock, who continues to lose a little bit of time from Matthew Addy bit by bit each lap. Addy really does have this in his hands at the moment. Not a commentator's curse. I will maintain that. But, this is a straight out battle for second place in this category. Bronze category could get interesting. Adam Wilson Weir is having a good race here. Third place right now. He's got Gabriel Papa Constantino in his sights, but Papa Constantino will probably take this result right now because this could well put him well towards leading the championship in bronze after tonight. I don't quite have the calculations in front of me. I've not got to that stage of the championship yet where I do spreadsheets on the fly. But this is good for his championship. Tonight's been a good night for the Lamborghini driver of Aztec Racing 2. But it's not over yet. He could well put a case in for the win and challenge Matt Emmons. We've got Matt Emmons in the big Mustang leading this race, and small, nimble, squirrely almost Lamborghini here to challenge. Towards the front, Altria, in fact at the front, Altria leads. Less than 7 seconds between him and McCluskey now. He's got 4 minutes to go, which is around about 2 or 3 laps to complete this race. He's dropping around about 8 tenths per lap. 7 tenths per lap. And McCluskey is closing in, putting in big lap times just outside of the 41s. But Ben Altria, to be fair, is only just inside the 42s. I think there's enough gap for Altria to finish this off. As we see McCluskey take a trip across the sausage curve there on the exit of TV3. Oh, I'm getting very wide there outside of Campster. The rear end getting very, very loose. And you can tell he's pushing very, very hard. Just got to be careful. I know he's the benchmark driver in this series, but he's got to be careful. He does not want to throw this away at this point. Let's meet back up with the silver drivers. Here's Kruger. He's caught up to the back of Nigel Stock, and he might well be bringing Oosthuizen with him. So this battle will continue on, and there's not many laps left for Nigel Stock to keep it, or alternatively, Kruger and Oosthuizen to get that second place in their hands. It's also team championship points as well you've got to consider with this. The points you score in your category are the points that go towards your team in the championship. Nigel Stock is without his teammate tonight. Stephen de Grevelli are not racing tonight, so it means Crest Autosport have got one driver scoring for them tonight, which is a big disadvantage on all the teams actually tonight, as they've got 2 or 3 drivers. So all the points he can get are crucial for him and his team. As to the outside goes Kruger, he's much later on the brakes. Nigel Stock has got to power it through the corner here, but Kruger will hold the inside for the next corner, and then Nigel Stock the inside for the next corner. Similar to what we saw between Stock and Oosthuizen on a few laps previous. Stock's able to hang on to it, but he's got to keep the inside covered for the next corner. He does so. He just eases into the corner, keeping the Ferrari in a straight line. We have also got fairly close battle for 5th place in the gold category. Alan McCain heads that battle at the moment, with Jake Pitt and Gavin Gardner in 7th. This is a big turn in form for Alan McCain. This would be one of his better results of the season, particularly in this overall round. Now, with Gaz Williams missing this feature race as well, it also bodes well for the Next Gen Racing with Benji Sim Photos racing team, as we see Ben Altria cross the line, and this will end up being his final lap that he started. We've got lots of battles to keep an eye on. The battle for 5th in gold, as we just mentioned, McCain, Pitt and Gardner. We've got the battle for 2nd in silvers, Stock, Kruger and Oosthuizen. And we've got the battle for the lead in the bronze category, Emmons versus Papa Constantino. Let's keep an eye on the golds, as Jake Pitt is making his way beside Gavin Gardner as they start their final lap. And this is going to allow McCain to potentially stretch away as they go side by side into turn number 1. Swapping positions, Pitt cutting quite a lot of the curb there to try and get it done, but he couldn't. Gardner has the better line through the next corner. Back here, close between Stock and Kruger, as we head towards turn number 4 for the final time for these drivers. And Stock holds it for the time being. There's only realistically one more corner where these drivers can complete their moves. McCain's in the clear here. It's just going to be Gardner versus Pitt towards the end. But our victor of the gold category is going to come through very, very shortly. He'll exit through these final 2 corners, and it'll be a back to winning ways for Full Tilt Motorsport. Ben Altria is a new winner this season in the gold category. He takes the gold category win in the feature race tonight. McCluskey crossed the line in 2nd place and will extend his championship lead on his nearest rivals following tonight and that feature race. And Mike Barber will secure another podium for himself, likewise to last week. 3rd place for him. Matthew Addy, what a drive from him in this feature race to get it done. Pit strategy worked to perfection. He wins the feature race here in the silvers. Stock holds on to 2nd place from Jeffrey Kruger, and it's points on top of his nearest championship rivals. Kruger 3rd place. And it could well be, bar these final few corners, an opening win in the season for Matt Emmons in the bronze category. But championship, one of the main championship protagonists right behind him. But Emmons has done it. He's got it done. He's the winner in the bronze category tonight here for round 5. Papa Constantino will come through in 2nd place, and big points for him in the championship. Adam Wilson-Weir with one of his best results of the season, I think equaling a result at Monza in the endurance for round 3. 3rd place for him. Good round for him. But our outright winner, and very happy about it, is Ben Altria. I don't think Altria picked up a win last season either. He picked up a couple of podium places last season, but I don't think he actually got the outright win. So as the drivers head into the pits, we'll get ourselves the race results here, but we'll start with the gold category, which as we know was won by the driver in view here, Ben Altria, and he takes it by 7.6 seconds ahead of championship leader Ben McCluskey. Mike Barber finishes off the podium, 3rd place for him, and Edwin Simpson, last week's feature race winner, is 4th place tonight. Alan McCain with one of his best results of the season is 5th position with Gavin Gardner in 6th position. Jake Pitt in 7th with Martin Hobson in 8th and Sean Shute 9th. Jamie Dory rounds off the top 10 and a difficult feature race but a good sprint race for him earlier on. Gene McLaughlin will take 11th position and Aaron Hobson 12th. Stefan Wessels had drama in that feature race. He comes through eventually in 13th place. And Stephen Bird, we saw the incident with him, a very notable incident in this race. He comes through in 14th in the end. Ben Bennyworth and Matthew Cheverton did not finish the race, unfortunately. As for the silver category, it's an opening win of the season for Matthew Addy. And in fact, all 3 categories have got new victors within them after tonight's feature race. And it's Matthew Addy who takes the silver category from Nigel Stock in 2nd, just 2 seconds behind him. Kruger takes 3rd position from Carl Oosthuizen, our championship leader, in 4th position. Baz Meacham, who won the feature race last week, finishes 5th in this feature race with Paul Walsh. A pretty good night for him in 6th position. Mark Sykes 7th with Mark Baker in 8th. Ian Manners and Mike Reedner round off the top 10 and the finishers on the lead lap. Jochen Siegert, Wesley Lewin were 1 lap down, 2 laps down was Kevin Smith, and not finishing the race was Neil Martin. Bronze category, and it is an opening win of the season for Matt Emmons of Verano Motorsports. And he takes the win just in front of Gabriel Papaconstantino, who might be, I say might be the championship leader of bronze category after tonight. Adam Wilson-Weir, another strong result for him, equaling a previous best in the season. 3rd place for him. Stein Vatens with drama and issues with the car potentially towards the end. 4th place for him. Elwyn Sykes, leader of the championship heading into tonight, takes 5th position from Kurt Van Honecker in 6th position. John Berry in 7th, and Andy Rooney, winner of the sprint race, not such a good feature race, a lap down in 8th place for him. Andy Chell, a difficult night for him again, 9th place with Craig Tillotson rounding off the top 10, and Robert Savage 11th, and back at the bronze category was Matt Gatter. There we go, that was the results of tonight's race, and we'll go through them again before we finish off the live stream tonight, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to get some interviews in for the next couple of minutes. And I'm just loading up Discord to see who is lined up ready for us. And it's our usual suspects in the interview waiting room, but I promised them, because we didn't interview them last week, we will interview them today. But what we're going to do first of all is we're going to send ourselves back to the start of the race, and we're going to watch through the race start as we pick up some interviews. So first of all, we are going to get an interview with our usual suspect in the interview room. Yes, you are dragged in, Andy. Hopefully you weren't saying any Andrew. Hopefully you weren't saying any angry swear words to whoever's in the interview waiting room with you. But welcome to the comms box.
Hi, Alex. No. It was me and Paul were just chatting about how the night had gone.
Well, that's a good question to start with. How did the night go for you?
Not great. To be honest, it's been one of them nights where I couldn't get it to work. It's not the car, just me. Just couldn't get it to work. Definitely not the best of nights tonight for me. But team as a whole have done well, so I'm happy. Adam's third, I think. 3rd or 4th, one of them. But we as a team, we've had a mixed night. We've had Ben having technical issues. He had to drop off early. And then you got me, John, Rob and Andy that have had a bit of a so-so night. Let's say so-so night. So yeah, it's just been one of them. I think few of us aren't feeling 100%, so it's kind of drained us a little, which obviously doesn't help when you're in a room that's at 70 odd degrees because your PC's pumping out that much heat and you're racing. A lot of people think it's easy to do this. It really isn't. So so definitely not the bestest of night for me, but as a team we've done okay, I think. And that's the main thing. As long as we can bring the bit of a challenge to the team's championship, we'll be happy. So
yeah, exactly. I think in that feature race, the most notable result would be Adam in 3rd place, just to confirm to you. But tell us a little bit how the Corvette felt tonight, because we saw a couple of Corvettes struggling tonight. We actually saw a lot of people struggling with the grip tonight. Cold track temperature and very low powerful setup. So what was it like?
It's been strange, to be honest with you. I mean, the feature race for me is a bit blurred anyway. I try not to take tyres if I can help it because of the time you save in the pit box. And tonight it was only after they released me to go that I got my rundown of what my tyres were like, and my spotter told me that I was on about 60% at the front, and I was like, wish I'd have heard that as I came into the pits, but okay. So for me, definitely very slidey. I had a lot of problems out of the last quarter. It was just running wide, slowdowns, and then obviously we've, like I say, a lot of us have had lazy spins. But I mean, I think it's universal. Every GT driver will tell you, when it's going to go because you just hear it burble down, and you're not going to be able to save it.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It's cruel, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like you think, okay, and then it's like, and you're like, oh no.
And it feels like it goes in slow motion as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. It's unfortunately one of them. Like I say, it sounds like in that case a lot of people have had a bit of a struggle with it, but kind of starting to expect that now. Obviously, we're running later on in the year. Tracks are going to be cold. It's one of them things, unfortunately. But the Corvette, I say this, I can't fault it. I mean, me and Andy had a laugh as we were coming back into the pits. He was like, so when are you going back to the Lamborghini? And I was like, it's not happening. As funny as that is, it's not happening.
Gabriel has managed to eke something out of that Lamborghini, isn't he? And
he has, yeah. All credit to him. I'll give him the props for it. He definitely, he deserves the results that he gets when it plays ball for him. But I think even he has them moments like I was having last year where it would just decide to swap ends on him for no reason. And it is always, the Lamborghini doesn't give you any warning, whereas the Corvette, like I say, you know when it's going, and like you say, it's that lazy one where you're like, I'm going to feel stupid for this because it's going to slowly rotate, and I always think if Alex is watching me right now, it's typical. That's when you'll cut to see how things are going further down the field. It's like, but yeah, I think, like I say, it's been a struggle for all of our drivers. Ben was struggling with the McLaren before he started having his technical issues. Andy was struggling with the Porsche. He swapped tyres, and he was even saying he was having issues with it gripping up. So it's just been one of them nights, and I think it like I say, it doesn't reflect on the car. It just reflects on track positions and me, really, when it's looping on me, because it's, like I say, we're not feeling great. I haven't been able to catch it as quick as I normally would, things like that. So, but the Corvette itself was okay. I mean, it wasn't how it felt in practice, I won't lie. Practice, it felt brilliant. Even in the sprint, it felt pointy, because that's how it normally feels. It is very pointy once it's warm. But it just, the track combination, isn't it, really? I suppose track temperatures, tyre wear, things like that. But me not being well, just meant it just didn't play. It didn't plan out the way that it usually does. So, on the whole, I think it's a good car. I've got no aims to look at changing, to be honest. So yeah.
a costly 50 points as well, so you may as well stick
It
out.
is.
But,
Yeah, it is.
Look, this season so far, right, we've seen, in the bronze category this is, we've seen Emmons take a win, we've seen Sykes take a win, we've seen Rooney take a win, we've seen Papa Constantino take a win. When are we going to see an Andy Chell win? Let me know that. Get your crystal ball out.
I mean, I honestly, I mean, it says itself there. You know, we've had 6 races. No, we haven't. We've had 5 races.
Yes, yeah.
So far, and we've had 5 different winners. So it just shows you how competitive the bronze category is. It is very competitive. Don't get me wrong. I come into every race going, I want to win it. I do want to win it, but as I've said to you before, I do always look at the championship as a whole, and you know, I'd rather finish with some points than finish with no points. So, I don't know. Based on the tracks coming, I'd like to say Daytona because that's one everybody wants, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I'd love to say Nord, but I don't think that's going to happen. To be honest, it's 2 hours at one of the hardest tracks in iRacing, so anything could happen. So I mean, it could, but at the same time, it could be a retirement with the car ruined. You don't know. But yeah, like I say, I think it's quite competitive. I think the start of the season went really well for me. At the moment, I'm just in that. If I didn't have bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck phase. I think Suzuka was very much that for me. So I don't know, but I would like to say I'd like to take at least one win this season. I would like to take one, but again, the later on in the season, you know, I've got to prioritise in our team who's got the likelihood of winning the championship. So if at that point I haven't got a realistic chance, then you'll probably see me giving up points and places to support my drivers that have, because at the end of the day it's a team game, and I'm not going to take someone's opportunity just so I can have a win. So we'll see how that goes, and obviously long time yet, but I don't know is the tricky answer to that one. I'd like one, but we'll see. We'll see.
Good. Okay, so before we head off, Andy, we got other people to interview, so give them a little bit of time. But anybody you want to give a shout out to on behalf of Quatermass, the whole team? Anybody you want to give a shout out to? Friends, family, sponsors, etc.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to shout you out first, mate. It's always nice to come in and speak with you. You're always welcoming and have me every opportunity you get in the commentary booth. So I do appreciate that, and obviously the stream. Well, it wouldn't be the same without you, mate. So,
thank you
to you, and to the NXTGEN, the admins that make it possible for us to go racing on a Thursday night. We as a team, we genuinely do appreciate having a place to come and have fun, enjoyable racing. It does mean a lot to us, especially with like our Para Drivers Academy, where we are bringing people who feel a little bit more vulnerable. Coming into a space like NXTGEN gives us that opportunity where it is a brilliant community for them to come in, get the feet in league racing, and enjoy themselves. So yeah, a big shout out to NXTGEN, because without that, we wouldn't have some of our drivers in here that, because they do feel comfortable to actually come out and race, and if a mistake happens, a mistake happens. People treat them that way, so that is massive here. And then I'll give a shout out to all our sponsors at Quatermass. We appreciate every single one of them that help us go racing. So and then like you said, to the team, because I do think they're gelling really well. We're really starting to get into our stride, and it is nice to see. We've had Rob have a good result, we've had John have a good result, we're having Adam having good results, Andy's having good results, so it is good to see, and I am very proud of all of them. So yeah,
great, excellent. As usual, don't be a stranger, Andy. Good luck in 2 weeks' time at the Nordschleife. Thank you very much.
Indeed, thank you very much, mate. Speak to you soon.
There we go. That was Andy Chell. We're going to dive straight into the next interview, actually, because they've been waiting very, very patiently, actually. But next we're going to chat to Paul Walsh, fellow commentator, as I always say. Paul, welcome to the comms booth, mates. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, good evening, Alex and all, and absolutely fantastic. Goodness me, what a night of racing. I must admit, I went into this one thinking, you know what, we'll just see how the dice play out, and a P4 in race 1 and a P6 in race 2. I'm happy to be back inside the top 5 and fighting for it.
Yeah, you've had a really good night, haven't you? A good strong haul of points. No podiums, but considering how the season started, things are really starting to turn around for you at this point, aren't they?
Oh, 100%. Going into each round just with the focus of let's keep moving forward. I mean, Suzuka last week, frustrating, ended up in a couple of incidents, but you know what? Learned from them, realised in that one it was all about tyre saving. And in practice yesterday, that was my focus. Did a lot of practice on a single set of tyres and realised, you know what? Tyres are going to be shot after 20 minutes, let alone 40 minutes or so. So this one's going to be not much about the pace, although qualifying was important. We'll probably come to that in a minute. But over the distance, I could probably move up, and the consistency, I think, is what rewarded me today.
Absolutely, absolutely. But what about the Mustang? What was that an ideal car for tonight? Because we saw across the field there were quite a few Mustangs doing okay tonight.
It was interesting, the Mustang. I'd say Catalunya, with its combination of corners and straights, the one thing the Mustang really did struggle in was the low to medium speed complexes. So turn 4 through to 7, for example, you really had to force the car around the corners. But the great thing about it is because it's so quick coming out of those corners, you can form a queue of people behind and they just can't get close. And in the sprint race, unfortunately Aaron Hobson and his Mercedes AMG got caught up behind me for the best part of the last 10 minutes. He could ride my back, but every time we accelerated out of the corner, I could just pull away enough, and the dirty air didn't help him either. So it was a good car so long as you had your own clear air in front.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just trying to draw more on the Mustang then. What about the rest of the season coming up then, Paul? You're on a good turn of form. Monza, Suzuka. Well, Suzuka had a bit of bad luck here and there, but tonight especially. What about the rest of the season? You feeling quite confident with the tracks coming up? I mean, the notorious Nordschleife is heading closer. How are you feeling heading towards that equally with the rest of the season?
So Nordschleife, I'll be honest with you, I'm quite worried about it and nervous just because of the scale of the circuit. I mean, it is the nickname Green Hell after all, but you know what? We've got a week's break coming up, so plenty of practice to go in.
Yeah,
but second half of the season's good. Like you were saying earlier, Alex, the fact we're on an upward trajectory here, I mean, I've set myself a target for this season now, which is to be on the podium at least once. We almost did that tonight, and I was chatting to Kevin in the debrief room before you pulled me in. And we having a laugh over the fact that we didn't realise we were fighting over the podium until the last 3 minutes of the race. And it was sort of, oh, game on then. But yeah, second half of the season should be good. The circuits I'm looking forward to are Interlagos, the Grand Prix Loop of the Nürburgring, and also Daytona for the season finale. I think we could go strongly at all three and chase the podium there.
They're legendary tracks in their own right, aren't they? So yeah, looking forward to them. That was actually my next question is, when will we see Paul Walsh on the podium? But you think Interlagos, if not the Nordschleife?
Yeah, we'll go for it. I mean, we've got to go for it, but it's small steps. If we can consistently chase the top 5 like we did tonight, then that podium's not too far away, I reckon.
Ah, fabulous. Definitely drag you into the interview room when that happens. But how are things in the NXTGEN camp at the moment? Because the team's doing very well in the teams championship, like the various teams that there are in NXTGEN racing. But how about you and your guys? How is the dynamic there?
Yeah, dynamic's absolutely brilliant. I mean, we come into each week with a lot of positivity behind us, Mark, Matt and I. It was a bit of an interesting night tonight in the fact that I think when I'm on the up, the other guys seem to have a tough night, although I've got to say thank you to Mark in the feature race for letting me go towards the end of stint 1 when he saw me coming up quickly behind him, because that enabled me to go chasing after Baz Beecham. But it's really solid, and we have our frustrations. I mean, everybody does. You don't have a flawless season unless you're leading out the front all the time, but we get over it, and the positivity comes back the week after, and we push on with it. It shows in the fact that we're doing so well in the teams championship, we're not letting those pesky points get away from us.
Great, good stuff. That's good to hear. Okay, so before we shoot off, Paul, anybody you want to give a shout out to? Any friends, family, or sponsors?
Well, firstly, got to give a big shout out and thank you to yourself, Alex, for putting on the absolutely brilliant broadcast. I mean, I watch it back with my breakfast the day after, and I'll be doing so tomorrow morning before I get started with work. Absolutely love it. Great to see you covering all the racing action. Also say a thank you to all our sponsors at NXTGEN, as always. I mean, I don't have them all to hand, and I'm not going to read them all off, but always grateful for their support. And also thank you again to the team for having me as part of the team, and to everyone for allowing me to be on the grid here. I mean, I'm normally in the commentary booth, but to enjoy the racing, and, well, obviously we had Road America, but the fact I've been toning it down and getting to race, and have some brilliant racing with people, that's what it's all about.
I'm quite envious of your position, actually, because I'm watching all the racing and thinking, I just want to get involved now. You're the lucky one. You're the lucky one. You've escaped, and you've got onto the track.
Tag team next time. We'll swap in and out midway through the race at the Nordschleife. You do the first hour, I'll do the second.
That's a pretty good idea. Just one more question, a bit of an encore before we head off, Paul. How are things going in the real world of commentary for you?
Going really well. So for those that are aware, last weekend I was up at Donington Park working with the British Automobile Racing Club, or the BARC, covering the Caterham Racing Festival. So I was in the commentary booth with Chris Hutchinson from Caterham. Fantastic weekend, brilliant broadcast team, fantastic racing over the entire weekend. Really going solid. I can't say that I've definitely got more opportunities coming up just yet, but keep your eyes peeled. We never know what happens for the remainder of 2024 going to 2025. But what I can say is that it's a dream come true. I'm loving every moment of it, and I'm looking forward to what awaits me in the months ahead.
Wow, fantastic. Great to hear. Right, well, thanks very much for chatting to us, Paul. Don't be a stranger. We'll see you back in 2 weeks' time. Have a good Halloween.
You too, Alex. All the best.
There we go. Paul Walsh chatting to us then. And we're going to go straight into our next interview, which is going to be with one of the Verano Motorsport representatives, and it's going to be Kevin Smith. Welcome to the comms booth, Kevin. First of all, can you hear us, mate?
Yeah, I can hear you, mate. And welcome to you.
Excellent. So let's talk about the sprint race, first of all. A third place for you there. You must be chuffed with that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with a P3. My goal tonight was to get P3, so personal goal was achieved, shall we say, for that race.
And how about the feature race? Didn't quite go to plan for you. I don't think I recall what happened, but can you just talk us through what happened in your feature race?
Yeah, so got a good jump off the start, as I normally do, to be fair. BM just seems to grip up. On the run down in turn 1, I was on the inside of Mark coming in turn 2. I thought I'd left him enough room. Unfortunately I hadn't. There was a little bit net code after I've looked at it, and it just spun us. And then Am ran straight into us, to be honest. So it was a tour from the pits, and just a case of bringing it home in the feature race, just to score that 1 or 2 points out of getting.
It's such a shame, isn't it? After such a good sprint race as well, it's such a shame for it to go that way. But on to the next race, I suppose. But on the flip side, Verano Motorsport have had a very, very good night tonight. Matt Emmons getting himself a win tonight. But also Mike Barber doing very well in the gold category. So Verano must be feeling pretty good after tonight.
Yeah, I mean, overall as a team as a whole, it's been a brilliant night for us. Obviously Mike with his P5 in the sprint race and then a P3 in the feature. Matt getting the win in the feature as well. Yeah, it's been a good night for podiums all round, to be honest, for the team as a collective.
You must, I mean, there's 2 Verano teams, but you must feel that, we keep these results up. Maybe a team's championship potential is on the cards?
We're not ruling it out. I mean, we've seen what happens in this series. Anything can happen and change in the blink of an eye, to be honest, from race to race. Would be good. Obviously, tonight we're getting a good point haul for the team's championship across both teams.
Absolutely have. And we're just seeing you in your scheduled pit stop on the broadcast there. So how about the rest of the season, Kevin? Are there any tracks coming up in the second half of the season you think yeah, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
A bit of a love-hate track, Nords.
It is for all of us, mate.
It's one of them. You love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
I normally do the 4-hour race by myself, to be honest. So it's one of them tracks I would expect to be up there somewhere. I mean, it is a 2-hour race, but like I keep saying, everyone, it's only 12 laps. I mean, it sounds a lot better seeing we're doing 12 laps in 2 hours.
yeah, it sounds a little softer, doesn't it? But at the Nordschleife, you're in the BMW, which normally is the more favoured car at that track. Does that put a bit of confidence in you?
To be honest, I only ever raced the BM in this league. It's not a car. I used to drive it all the time. And I normally drive the Audi or Ferrari now. So it's just something a little bit different, but I think the track which it's going to really struggle at will be in Lagos, just with a tight, twisty sector 2.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it could be. So the Nordschleife is the one to look out for you then. So yeah, looking forward to that in 2 weeks' time. Yeah, before we head off, Kevin, anybody you want to give a shout out to? A lot of people watching, fans of Verano Motorsport, but anyone else you want to give a shout out to? Friends, family, fans, and sponsors?
It's just mainly all the sponsors of Verano, and the drivers there as well. We all try to help each other out as much as we can, obviously to improve. Obviously a big thank you to yourself for the commentary as well, every week, and obviously everyone in the background at NXTGEN that puts on the league and organises it all.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you very much, Kevin. Yeah, well done tonight, mate, and well done to Verano. We'll see you all in 2 weeks at the Nordschleife. Have a good Halloween.
Yeah, you as well, mate, and we'll catch up with you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. There we go. Yeah, like we said, Verano have had a good night tonight, and it's really on the up. Suzuka was a good night for them as well, so it's looking good for them. So let's see. I don't think we've got updated championship standings, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. Normally we do, but I think our resident points keeper, whatever you call him, point scorer, Paul Williams, is on a night off tonight. So we'll have to come back in 2 weeks' time with the updated championship results. But what we will do is remind you of how the results looked in this feature race. So we'll start with the golds yet again. And it's Ben Aldre who takes his first win of the season. And it is by 7 seconds from Ben McCluskey, who will be our runaway championship leader potentially after tonight. Mike Barber with another podium for himself in the Verano Motorsport Mustang. 3rd position for him, with Edwin Simpson in 4th position. And Alan McCain behind in 5th position with one of his better results of the season. And Gavin Gardner in 6th place just behind him. Jake Pitt 7th with Martin Hobson in 8th, Sean Shute 9th, and Jamie Dory rounding off the top 10. Silver category, and it is a win for Matthew Addy. A very, very strong race for him tonight. I would have liked to have spoke to him in the interviews tonight, but sadly he wasn't there to take the interview, unfortunately. But maybe another night. But a strong night for him. And 2nd place for Nigel Stock. He'll be pleased with that result, finishing just ahead of his championship rivals Jeffrey Kruger and Carl Oosthuizen. And a shout out to all 3 of them. Brilliant racing from them tonight. No contact or anything like that. Great, great battling. Baz Meacham in 5th position with Paul Walsh, who we spoke to just a moment ago, in 6th position. Mark Sykes in 7th position from Mark Baker. Ian Manners in 9th and Mike Reedner 10th. Bronze category, and it is a win, an opening win of the season for Matt Emmons of Verano Motorsport, just by 0.6 of a second ahead of Gabriel Papaconstantino, who could well be championship leader in bronze category after tonight. Adam Wilson-Weir 4.5 seconds down the road from the leader, 3rd place for him, equaling his best result of the season. Stein Vatens in 4th position. He was leading the majority of the race, but a problem for him saw him drop down the order. 5th position for Elwyn Sykes, the championship leader heading into tonight. Kurt Van Honecker in 6th position, last of the lead lap finishers of the bronze category. John Berry in 7th, followed by Andy Rooney, the sprint race winner. Andy Chell, who spoke to in the comms booth just a moment ago, is 9th. Craig Tillotson 10th, Rob Savage 11th, and Matt Gatter 12th. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. That's been Round 5 of the season, and we are over and out of the first half of this season. First half of the season started off at Fuji, then Road America, then the first endurance round of the season, Monza, Suzuka last week, and today was Catalunya to see us out of the first half of the season. Our second half of the season will consist of the Nordschleife, taking place in 2 weeks from today, the Green Hell, hosting our second endurance round of the season. Next week we have got a week off as it's Halloween, and we'll be back in 2 weeks from today as we mentioned. Zolder will host round 7 of the season, followed by Interlagos, and then Nürburgring for the penultimate round of the season, and then the final round of the season on the 5th of December will be Daytona Road Course. Thank you for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the Next Gen Racing GT3 Season 6 on iRacing. My name's Alex Everett. I've been your commentator tonight on behalf of Crest Autosport. And this is Thursday Night Racing on Next Gen. And thank you very much to the partners, sponsors and affiliates of Next Gen Racing that include PowerMax Racing, Sam Cases, Benji Sim Photos, Douglas Motorsport, Motorsport UK Esports Division, Falconer PC, Mark Sykes Designs, Joyce Design, Moser Racing, and Only Racing, our prize givers for the championship. £500 store credits to use on Only Racing's online store will be awarded to the winners of this championship. If you want to get involved in Next Gen Racing, scan the QR code on the bottom left and it will let you join our Discord server where you can get involved in the communications and keep an eye on all the news related to Next Gen Racing. But also keep an eye on the Facebook page, Twitter, Instagram, and all the streaming channels to include YouTube, Facebook, and Kick. Thank you for watching tonight, ladies and gentlemen. This has been the 5th round of the season. The first half of the season is over. We head into the second half of the season, and it's not a friendly introduction. It's the Green Hell coming up next. We'll see you then. Thank you and good night.
Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, that's all from us here at Next Gen Racing, the home of clean and fair sim racing for all.